It's the amazing and soothing sounds of the basement in the Spencer estate for Resident Evil. So that can only mean one thing. Toad Talk Podcast is back for episode 9. And yes, we're a little bit late on the release, on the drop on this episode, but at least we did it. We had a lot of different conflicts of schedules between the original hosts trying to get everyone together this week. It's been kind of a madhouse, but on a Thursday, we're finally getting episode 9 done. Thank you all for waiting patiently for this episode to drop. I just want to drop a special shout out to Lucinda, who is actually wondering if she had missed episode 9. And I had to tell her, no, we had not had time to actually record it yet. So shout out to you, Lucinda. Thank you for listening passionately to our podcast each week. Appreciate you very much. That being said, we have a lot to get to tonight on this Thursday night to catch a lot of things up, whether it be movies, new games, the sports world, WWE, and of course the Croakitoad and CPW area. We have a lot to talk about everywhere, but let me bring on our guests on our panel here tonight. We have the returning RAJI is back.
What up?
And filling in for Grem tonight, we have kind of a 50-50 hodgepodge, I guess, fill in here, since I guess Grem is too busy doing stuff with the Kentucky Derby or horse racing or something, but he cannot be here with us for episode 9. So we have a split here. We have the returning Coke Soda Can is back.
Yeah, I'm back at the spot.
And we also have, for the first time, stepping in to fill in here and there, we have Hype is here for the first time.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
Who is really concerned that his mic wasn't going to sound good, but I assured him it's fine. Everything's fine. All right. Well, guys, we are going to go ahead and jump right into our first. Actually, should we go ahead and do the Bubsy giveaway talk real quick and then go to Bring Your Own News, or how do you want to do that?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, because every week's a different twist.
All right. Bubsy 40 giveaway time, everybody. Bubsy 40 giveaway. I'll pass it over to RAJI to once again explain the rules and let you know what's going on there.
All right. Last episode, we gave away Pragmata. Fuse for Spence won it. He has received his giveaway prize. And we also announced next month's giveaway going to be a copy of Bubsy 4D on a console of your choice. I will say we did run into issues with the Pragmata giveaway. Sony, in their infinite wisdom, decided that they weren't going to give digital codes for the game, but Xbox and Nintendo Switch did. So if I'm going to put this out there now, if it's a game and it's on PlayStation or any platform that will not give you a digital code, I will provide you with a wallet code for that store so you can use the funds to get the game yourself. People may seem like that's a nuisance. I don't mind doing it. It's still delivering what I promised. It's just you have to then go get it yourself using the funds. If you turn around and want something else, you know what? I'm not gonna be mad. You still want the giveaway. You got what the monetary value of that. So if you turn around and want something else, I'm not gonna hold you back if you get a monetary code. Now, if there's a code for the game directly available, that's what you'll get, and you'll get the game. But this week's keyword that you have to put on this video right here, is going to be Toad Bubsy. Toad Bubsy. And if you already commented on last video, you can comment again in this video. So we're changing it where every comment you leave per video is an extra entry into the giveaway. And that giveaway will be announced, like the date will be announced next week. So be looking out for that next week, or in a few days when we record the next one.
And also, this accounts for Spotify and Apple Podcasts as well. Please leave Toad Bubsy in the comments. We are checking all 3 of those platforms so that you can enter. And I think I asked this before, but we'll go ahead and throw it back. if they leave a comment on YouTube and then also leave a comment on Spotify, does that also count as an extra entry?
Oh yes, thank you for bringing that up. Any comment you leave on any platform our podcast is available on is a +1 to your entry count. And we have Coke, who didn't volunteer for this and didn't know about it until I just said something about it. Coke will be in charge of making sure I get them all done correctly and I don't miss anybody.
What? Okay. All right.
Congratulations, you have been nominated. All right, well, there you hear it, everybody. We are very happy to give back to our podcast audience, listeners out there, and congratulations to Fuse for Spence, longtime community member and listener of the podcast, on winning Pragmata, a game that I've heard a lot of great things about so far from people that have played it. And now it's your turn, listeners, faithful listeners out there, to win a shot at a copy of our glorious friend here in the Croakitoad community, Mr. Bubs, coming back with Bubsy 40. Enter in as soon as you hear this and leave your comments in and get those submissions in, and we'll be giving that game away very soon. And thank you all for listening to everyone on all platforms. All right, that being said, we're going to move on to our Bring Your Own News segment here on the Toad Talk podcast. And this week I'll be kicking things off as usual. And what I'm going to bring to the table is a very amazing announcement from Kinetic Games, our great friends over there, who have provided us with one of my favorite multiplayer games of all time. And that game is called Phasmophobia. And those of you probably are in the know, probably already know what I'm going to be talking about here. But on May 5th, 2026, which is coming up in like 5 days at the recording of this podcast, there is going to be a brand new, and I believe this is free, it's just retroactively updating to everybody who already has the game, player character update, where the character models will all be different, updated, enhanced. The textures are going to be updated. They're all going to have different names, and there will be cosmetics, shirts, pants, hats, all kinds of different stuff. This is something I've been clamoring for since the early days of Phasmo. Those of you that have played Phasmo, you know what I'm talking about. You've usually always had the selection of 6 different characters, and that's basically been it, give or take. But now looks like they've overhauled the models of the characters. And looking at the screenshots from the Kinetic Games website, they look really good. They have names, they have biographies, so that there's a little bit of personality to these characters, and they will be offering Twitch drops for the character cosmetics as well. So if one of your favorite streamers does play Phasmophobia, you can watch the stream and get some new clothing for your characters in Phasmophobia. This is really cool. I'm really happy to see this. I'm super fan of anything cosmetics in games that I like, and it's a long time coming for Phasmo, and I know a lot of fans out there are super happy and cannot wait to check out all the new models and cosmetics for these new characters as we do and play our favorite ghost hunting game, Phasmophobia. I'm happy to see it. There's been so much stuff coming out for Phasmophobia these days, whether it be level redesigns or reworks or HD updates for the graphics and the levels. We just checked out the brand new Tanglewood for the first time on one of my streams last week, and it looked amazing. Really love it. There's, I believe, 3 more brand new ghosts now in the game, and there's just always something happening and popping off on Phasmo. You love to see it, and I'm happy to see that the character models and player customization is finally coming in less than a week, and you can definitely bet that I will be checking that out for sure. But yeah, super happy about that. Glad to see Phasmo popping off with updates left and right. But that is what I'm bringing to the table. Phasmo fans rejoice. I'm going to pass it over to Raji now.
Well, all right. Well, I told the guys that I had a surprise for the podcast tonight, and that is my news for today. It's kind of, some people will be like, really, that's a surprise, but other people, if you know, is going to be really excited for what I am going to be doing going forward on a weekly basis as my news for the podcast. and that is the introduction of the Croakitoad Cup Series.
Okay.
Okay, so there's no one has to do anything. No one has to do anything. Every season there will be a different list of drivers. This is all simulated. It's all I know people don't like what I'm about to say, but it's going to be simulated by AI. It's all AI driven, and every week I'll give you a recap of who's going to win, who wins the race, and at the end of every season, the winner of each season, from me personally, will get a $20 monetary card to any game platform they want. So PlayStation Store, Nintendo Store, or eShop, the Xbox, Microsoft Store, or Steam, or Origin, or whatever if you're weird and use Origin or Epic Games. So it's all AI driven. So, yeah. And just to give you a sample, I just ran a test race. Buckle up, buddy. Coke, buckle up. So this is what you can expect to hear from me on a weekly basis.
So
This is
basically,
not the. Go ahead.
So just to clarify, this is basically just like you're going to input all of our names, the members of the podcast panel in it, or
it's going to be the community names, everyone from the community. At the time of this test, there is a list of 66 drivers. List of 66 drivers pulled from the Discord community directly.
Oh.
Now, if you comment on our YouTube videos saying you want to be a part of this, I will add your name into the driver list, and I will update that every week whenever comments are left. So if you're worried about your giveaway and don't want to leave too many comments, you can put the giveaway keyword plus you want to be in the racing league. So here's an example. This is not an official race. That'll be next week. But here's an example of the Daytona 500 for the Croakitoad Cup Series. The 2026 Croakitoad Cup Series kicked off with absolute chaos at Daytona International Speedway. An early big one on lap 28 wiped out 19 cars in turn 1 after a 3-wide stack-up gone wrong. Several strong cars were collected, including fan favorites like the number 1 car for Croakitoad, the number 26 car for Green Eagle 17, and the number 82 car for Squidly. The race settled down until the final stage when a late big one on lap 173 with 27 to go took out another 22 cars in turn 4. This massive wreck dramatically shook up the running order. In a wild green-white checker finish, the number 997 Roxas 997 car made a perfectly timed move on the final lap to steal the victory away from the number 89 car, Coke Soda Can. Came home after a strong second after battling hard in the closing stages. After the race, tensions boiled over in victory lane. Roxas 997 and Coke Soda Can got into a heated scuffle with pushing, shouting, and crew members getting involved before Croakitoad officials stepped in. This rivalry has already sparked early in the season, and your top 10 finishers were Roxas 997, Coke Soda Can, Razorblade Cupcake, Mars Cake, CM Nick TV, Leo Jokerheart, Sean the Show, AJ the Boy Wonder, Electrocute, and Danny Do at 80. Hattie. And then the keynotes was stage 1 winner was Razorblade Cupcake, and stage 2 winner was Coke Soda Can. And then it will also provide me with standings after each week. So Roxas is in first place with 69 points, Coke Soda Can number 2 with 54 points, and so on and so forth. And then it will also this series will also follow the NASCAR Championship Series, where the last 16 races will be a chase for the Cup playoff format. So that's what you can expect every week. Like I said, the winner of each season will win a $20 monetary gift card to a gaming platform store. I don't know what you would call it, of their choice.
Wow. That is wild. The fact that it automatically just had Coke and Roxas do all that interaction.
I may have assigned the 997 to Roxas manually. That was my doing. Everyone else's car number was randomly given to them through the AI.
But the fact that they had like a fight, they had like a fight after the race and all that. That's crazy. Well, there you go. If you want to be added to the, what would you call this, Croakitoad Cup Series?
Yes, the Croakitoad Cup Series.
If you want to be added to the Croakitoad Cup Series, you don't have to be in our Discord. If you're a listener on one of the 3 platforms, just reply in the comments, reply back, and let us know that you would like to be added. Let Raji know you'd like to be added with your name, and we'll add you to the Croakitoad Cup Series if that's something that you would like to be a part of. Sounds real fun. Looking forward to seeing what the first race is going to be next week. All right, we're going to pass it over to Coke, who said he's got something gaming related that he's going to bring to the table this time.
Yeah, as you know, I like my stealth games, my late 90s, early 2000s, Deus Ex, Thief, System Shock, Ultima Underworld kind of stuff. But Thick as Thieves is made by a lot of the same people who made, Thief, Ultima Underworld, Deus Ex, System Shock. It's coming out like a introductory campaign is coming out on May 20th for $4.99. I think it comes with 2 large maps and it's co-op, and yeah. Maybe some of you will get it and we can play it, and I can show you how it's done.
Thick as Thieves, made by some of the old classic stealth game developers. I think I saw something about this on Steam. Do you know how many players can be on the same level together, and is it going to be feature crossplay at all? Do you know?
It just plays one of 2 let's see. I didn't really check and see. I do know that it's coming to console like a bit later than the PC release. I
Okay.
mean, I would imagine would have crossplay,
Okay.
but who knows?
And it's probably 4-player together, or
It doesn't really say.
Hmm.
But at least 2, obviously. Maybe 2 to 4 player.
Okay. Cool. Oh, well, definitely. I think I already have that on my wish list on Steam. But yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun, going through and doing stealthy stuff together with friends. That's awesome. This is a first time occurrence for Hype to be a part of our podcast. And I don't know if he had anything he wanted to bring to the table, but I'll go ahead and throw it over his way regardless. This is anything that you just like to bring to the table, basically. That's what the segment is. It can be literally anything you want.
Well, thanks for throwing it over to me. And as you guys know, I'm a bit of a Pokemon fan. Not huge, but I have some first edition cards that I'm proud of. But I wanted to commemorate that this year is the 30th anniversary of Pokemon release in the US. So I ran through and I found the news that Pokemon TCG is actually doing a commemorative collaboration to mark the 30th anniversary with Goldfish Crackers once again.
Ooh.
And what they're gonna do coming in May is they're gonna have a 4-bag limited release where it's gonna have the original starter Pokemon. So it's gonna have Squirtle, Charmander, Bulbasaur, and Pikachu all in their own color-coded bags.
That's awesome. And that when is that coming out?
Here in the next couple of weeks. They're going to be available anywhere that you can get Goldfish, except for the Pikachu bags. Those are actually going to be limited to Target and Walmart stores only. But the cool part is all of the crackers are not only just color coded, but you'll actually find the goldfish shape along with the Pokemon representative for that bag. So you'll find heads for Squirtle, Charmander, and Bulbasaur. And the yellow bags for Pikachu, the limited bags at Walmart and Target, will actually have a full body Pikachu as their cracker. That's the only one that's like that. And to go along with the collaboration, they haven't released the rules yet, but keep an eye on it if you want to participate. But Goldfish is actually going to be launching a contest with it as well, to where the winner actually gets to go visit the Pokemon Fossil Museum at the Chicago Field Museum. Goldfish is going to send a contest winner to go check out the Pokemon Fossil Museum.
That is amazing. I'll definitely have to. I had no idea that any of this was going on. I do like Goldfish from time to time. I'm not a massive fan of them, but because this is going on, I'll have to grab me several boxes once this event takes place.
Well, they're going to be standard flavor, just fresh, awesome shapes to go with the 30th anniversary.
Right. And then it kind of brings back the old nostalgia of what started Pokemon to begin with, which is you have to collect them all.
Well, talking about going back to nostalgia, the article that I'm reading on it also notes that there's going to be some re-releases for fresh games from the Kanto region, which hasn't been done since Game Boy Advance came out for Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green.
Nice. So like a remake.
Yep. And they're going to start also reprinting some of the old classic cards too.
Very cool. I'm super excited about that. I still have all my Pokemon cards in my binder from way back then.
Yep. Same.
Speaking of which, on a related note to Pokemon, as soon as this podcast is over, we will be doing our giveaway for the sub raffle for this month for all Twitch subscribers to Croakitoad on the Croakitoad Twitch stream. And it is actually for a pack of 10 Pokemon cards. So good luck to whoever may win that after we're done recording this podcast. But yeah, I always love hearing Pokemon news for sure. And hard to believe that it's 30 years now. 30 years. I think that makes all of us pretty old thinking about that now. All right. Well, that will wrap up our Bring Your Own News segment. We're going to move over to movies and television. And we do have 3 movies we're going to check out, trailers. The first of which, we kind of have horror, comedy, and action. So we kind of got the broad spectrum here of new movies coming out around the corner. This first one is a horror movie. As always, I'm a huge fan of horror films and flicks. And this one I am super stoked about. And I'll go into it a little bit more after we watch the trailer. But here we go. The first trailer for this week's podcast, Evil Dead is back. And this time it's Evil Dead Burn. Well, that was pretty wicked. Doesn't really give you a whole lot to go off of there. Just a bunch of carnage happening in what looks like possibly another cabin out in the middle of the woods. And this woman is just crawling on the ground while just all this chaos and carnage is going around. And you see this demonic guy just tearing through other people in this cabin while she's just trying to basically try to figure out what the heck is going on. I loved Evil Dead Rise when it came out. That was great. Very creepy movie. Awesome movie. Big fan of that. I was waiting to see what they were going to do next in the Evil Dead franchise. And I'm so happy to see this. Even if it doesn't give you a whole lot, but that's sometimes that's a good thing where it doesn't give you everything in the trailer. But looks like it's set for a July 10th release date. So great smack dab date there right in the middle of the summertime, which would be perfect for me. I can't wait to go see this. But yeah, I am super stoked about this. As soon as I heard the news about this the other day, I was like, oh yeah, I have to watch this trailer. That was the first time I seen the trailer actually live here for the podcast. But this is definitely on my calendar. I am absolutely going to see this. I love the Evil Dead franchise, and I can't wait to see this. Raji, I know you are a big horror movie fan, about as much as Grem is. That was a joke. But did this trailer appeal to you at all? Do you have any experience with the Evil Dead franchise or the movies at all? Or maybe even Army of Darkness?
I'm sorry, was that for me? I just got back. I'm sorry.
Yes, yes. Do you have any experience with Evil Dead or Army of Darkness or anything like that before watching any of those?
I've heard a lot about them. Like this. What's the what's the guy's name? Bruce Campbell.
Yes, Ash.
Yes, Ash. I've played a few of the old games and I've seen maybe one of, like the older movies, but I don't have much experience with this. No.
Okay. Coke. Have you ever seen any of the Evil Dead movies?
Yeah, I
or
saw the first two and Army of Darkness. I thought they were fine, but I'm not really a horror movie kind of guy.
Okay.
I mean, I might watch it. I don't know.
Well, Army of Darkness wasn't really horror; it was more
Yeah.
dark comedy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm sure you probably like that one at least.
Yeah.
All right, Hype. Help a brother out here, man. I can't be the only guy here that likes horror movies. What experience do you have with Evil Dead?
Not much with Evil Dead, but watching the trailer actually brought a lot of memories back from just watching some of the behind the scenes on some of the Conjuring films and how those multi-angle scenes actually work well. And I don't know if you noticed it, but one of the bald characters that was like in the back he was mainly like the one evil entity that was just like following behind. And when he's walking in the back, roughly about where you're looking at, instead of like walking, hunched over, running, or anything, he actually looks like he's floating.
I'm glad you brought that up.
So that actually kind of appealed really cool to me because like just seeing this trailer just brought back the memories of seeing like the cinematography and the coordination that it takes to make this scene. And just from that little snippet alone, I'm actually gonna watch this because that actually looks pretty sick.
I'm glad you brought that up. I was gonna bring it up on the tail end of this, but I was about to say like it's definitely kind of like
You see him floating too.
Yeah, it's like it definitely brings like the whole ghouls from the other movies back in perspective. The fact that he's floating, because even Coke would know this because Army of Darkness, the little ghouls, they kind of float in the air and stuff like that. I'm trying to remember if you actually saw that in Evil Dead Rise or not, because that would seem like. It sounds silly saying this, but it was like more grounded rather than like them floating, flying around in the air and stuff. But this is kind of a nice little middle ground between the silliness of what we saw with the Bruce Campbell movies and then with Evil Dead Rise. It's kind of a nice little middle ground there. But you can definitely tell there's some inspiration there from some of the original movies with what's going on in the chaos and stuff. And then, of course, the new movie with Evil Dead Rise as well, with just how bloody and gory that one was for sure. But yeah, I am super stoked to see this, and I will definitely be going to see this in theaters for sure. I can't wait to see more. Actually, I don't know if I want to see any more trailers. I don't want to spoil anymore because I've already decided I want to go see it. But either way, super excited for this and can't wait to go see it. All right, next movie up, and I'm sure the provided feedback will be a little bit more wholesome on this one because I'm pretty sure everybody on the panel has at least seen one of these. This is now a trilogy. Super Troopers, the third movie coming out. They've made it a trilogy franchise. Let's check out the new trailer for the third movie right here.
Reports of a high-speed chase.
I give to you our first electric patrol car.
Fuck electricity. Boom.
Well. If it isn't the old timers passing the torch to the new generation.
You beat my rookie in a foot race?
No ticket.
Wait, what?
1, 2, 3, go.
Hey, Thorny, we're super excited for your hot sister's wedding. To Rod Farva.
Son of a bitch.
Got any beer?
That's my shirt.
It's a good sex shirt.
I got a Postmates delivery of 12 short and wide condoms for Rod Farva.
Only 12? I guess I'll have to do.
Here I come, babe.
Come get your cream, girl.
I'm gonna stop this wedding. Mom, Dad, this is Farva.
Oh my God, babe, you clean up great.
I wonder if they have any white tea here. Oh, wait, that's me, Whitey.
We do like racial humor.
Who doesn't?
Farva texted me his list of demands for the bachelor party. Bum fights, Russian roulette, strip club. What the hell?
Hello, boys. Pull up a cuck chair.
Cut it back, cut it back.
Tokyo Drift, motherfucker!
Watch it, Farva.
Is it possible we're no longer the cool guys in our own story? Not a fucking chance. Okay, Farva, time to pick your snake. This guy's actually kind of cute.
Since it's the neck, it's best to suck it out.
Oh. Check it out. Farva, that's my mom. Fucking idiots.
Well, they are back, and it's time for their third movie, August 7th. Looks like it's going to be just as crazy as ever. Maybe not as much emphasized on them being police officers, more than Farva marrying the sister, Thorny's sister, is going to be the main story of this one. But you know, I've seen the first two movies. They're a good laugh. They bring that old school comedy and humor that you don't really find in a whole lot of movies these days. So we'll see how this one goes. I'm excited to watch it. I'll definitely check it out. Can't go wrong with Super Troopers. I mean, between the first two movies, specifically the first one, there's so many great moments from that movie I still remember to this day. But yeah, I'm pretty stoked for this. We'll send it. I think Raji went MIA for a bit, so we will send it over to Coke. Do you have any experience with Super Troopers, and is this something that you think you might like?
I only saw the first one years ago, and I thought it was kind of funny. So yeah, I might. Seems like it's just gonna be stupid, but in a good way.
Yeah, she's got that stupid comedy.
Yeah, mindless, stupid, funny. You know.
Yeah, my favorite, probably my favorite part in from the first film is when they pull over the German couple in the sports car. And you probably know why. Everyone probably knows why the reason I like that part. But all right, hype. What do you think about Super Troopers 3?
Oh my God, Broken Lizard. So much to unpack with this one. First off, just right here where we could see a little bit of a offbeat from Super Troopers 2. I know, Coke, you haven't seen it. Big major difference between 2 and 3 is Super Troopers 2 was made strictly through crowdfunding. So Indiegogo raised $4.5 million to produce Super Troopers 2 with Broken Lizard crew. Super Troopers 3 made by Searchlight Productions, which is oddly enough for what the vulgarity in this movie is looking to be, is actually a Disney company.
Wow.
But I will tell you, I am excited for this because I actually have small collection, the Super Troopers pop figures, to include Mac in his steel cup and Farva with his liter cola. So, like I said, a lot to unpack with this trailer. I know the driver of the red Mustang, if you didn't notice it, you probably might recognize him as the Deep from The Boys. So that's actually a nice little cameo in it.
I thought he looked familiar. The blue eyes triggered me. I was like, wait, I know who that is.
It was the face for me, but yeah, I recognized him and I was like, wait, hold on. I know who that was. So I looked it up real quick. Yes, that is the Deep from The Boys. So it's cool because Boys ended, Gen V is on, but I guess they're canceling that show right there.
Yep. I still need to watch the new season of the final season of The Boys. I haven't started it yet.
Same. I think I finished off on like season 3, so I'm a bit behind, but this one just looks like classic Broken Lizard antics. And if you haven't seen some of their other films, I highly recommend Beer Fest. I wish they would have made the sequel to that one that they did at the end of credits scene with Willie Nelson for Potfest. And my personal favorite of the Broken Lizard films, Club Dread, where it was just island resort and just a hell of a lot of laughs. But I'm really getting excited for a lot of movies coming out this summer. So I can already see 2 of them that I'm going to be going out and checking out.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought up the point that the second movie was completely crowdfunded. I had completely forgot about that. And they were able to successfully get that into production and release that. So that was really cool. But the fact that they didn't have to go to crowdfunding for this shows a lot. That people wanted a third movie, and they're going to get a third movie.
Yeah, well, the big thing that raised a lot of crowdfunding for the second film was that Broken Lizard Productions, when they made Super Troopers 2 on their own, they actually made it to where if you were some of the largest donors towards the crowdfunding, that's where some of the character names came from, is that they would name a character after you in the movie.
Nice. That's certainly one way to get people to back the
having Rob Lowe in the second one doesn't hurt your chances at all.
Right. Yeah.
What?
Lettering and.
Hey, hold on, meow.
Wait. Can we say the second part on the podcast?
Meow. Meow.
Will we get flagged for that?
Meow. Meow.
Smoking the reefer.
Meow. Meow.
You got one more. That's my favorite scene in the first one.
I was just saying my favorite scene. Actually, everyone has to say what their favorite scene in the first one is. I'll re-say mine since Raji's back. My favorite scene in the first one was when they pulled over the German couple in the sports car.
I heard that part and I laughed.
Oh, yes, favorite part. All right, Coke, your favorite part for the first movie.
It's the same, probably. Yeah.
How is Noah mentioning the all-time best scene in the first one movie?
Before you say it, wait, hold on. Hype might say it because he hasn't said what his favorite is yet.
Mine has got to be Farva with the liter cola, where he pulls off the little ticket, which is like a reference to the Monopoly game in McDonald's, and they poked a hole in the backside of it. So once he ripped the little ticket off, he's like, I'm gonna win $1 million. Yeah. It just starts spraying all over him, and then he just, like, for a big guy as big as Farva is, he literally spears the cashier across the counter. He's like, come here, you little bitch.
Yeah, that's what I thought. The whole fast food scene. Yep.
No.
If you say who wants a mustache, right, I'm gonna laugh.
No.
The shower scene.
But our shenanigans are cheeky and fun. Yeah, and his shenanigans are cruel and tragic, which makes them not really shenanigans at all. Shenanigans.
I'm gonna next person.
Shenanigans. Hey, Farmer, what's the name of that restaurant you like with all the goofy shit in the wall and mozzarella sticks? Oh, you mean shenanigans?
Ooh. Okay.
Oh, now.
Before you said that, I thought, okay, it's not the shower scene, it's not the fast food scene. It has to be the scene where he's in the woods with the deer or the bear. Him with the bear suit.
Oh, where he's just like fake humping the bear.
Yes.
And he takes off carrying the bear dummy.
Yep. That's what I thought you were gonna say.
Ursula.
Snowsberries taste like snowsberries.
So as you can tell, listeners, there's so many great moments from the first Super Troopers. Definitely go see it if you haven't seen it, and catch the second one, and you'll be just in time to catch this third one coming out.
Do you know what's weird about Super Troopers?
Team Ramrod.
The fact that it premiered in 2001, right? January of that year, and then it brought it like it healed our hearts with laughter a few months after 9/11 happened, because it came out in theaters February 15th of 2002.
Wow.
That is how old that damn movie is. I did not realize that.
That was actually their first major production. The first one that they actually did was a small film called Puddle Cruiser. But Super Troopers was Broken Lizard's first main film.
Dude, I could talk about Broken Lizard all day. Like, I like Tacoma, or is it Tacoma FD?
Yes.
Dude, I just
Well,
I know it's Super Troopers, so we can move on. But man, I could talk about them all day.
Well, I want to get the right actor, because here's probably something that you might not know, because they mentioned it in a like a live comedy thing that they did. But let me make sure I get the right actor, because I bet you didn't know Eric Stolhansky, who plays Rabbit. He was the rookie in the first one. He actually has a prosthetic leg.
Oh, wow.
Did not know that. I thought this was going somewhere else.
Well, like Eric and Jay Chandrasekhar, they actually met in college in theater, and they just started daring each other to do the stupidest crap. And here he is, like stapling his leg, doing all this stuff, and just faking it, not realize. And Jay just never knew the guy had a fake leg that he was just egging him on with.
That's funny. Well, we'll definitely have to see how the third one is, the reception, the sales, see if people still have that same sense of humor locked away that they did 20 years ago, and see how well it does at the box office. We'll have to take a look back and see how it does later this summer. And hey, who knows? The actors are getting older, but hey, you can always bring out another one if the sales are good. All right, moving on to our last movie in this week's movie block. We have something from the DC universe, and we have a new villain movie for the first time ever in his own feature film. And it's kind of a villain that I've always kind of actually really liked, to be honest with you. He's never been like really an A tier villain for Batman. He's just kind of been like middle of the road as far as I know. Never really gotten his full exposure in pop culture and stuff, although they're always going to be fans of everything. But I'm actually kind of glad to see Clayface is getting his flowers here with his own feature film, maybe a little bit of backstory, some lore. And we'll take a look at this trailer here and see what we got here from the DC Universe and Warner Brothers. Well, let's take a look at Clayface. Absolutely love it. I didn't really show a whole lot there, but I'm glad they didn't. theaters October 23rd. Yet another movie that I think I will actually go see. I've always been intrigued with Clayface as a villain, whether it be through the Batman video games or just seeing him in pop culture, whether it be social media or pictures or whatever. I've always felt like Clayface was a really intriguing and fun villain for Batman, and I'm glad to finally see him get up on a pedestal and get his own feature film here to kind of go through his backstory and everything. And I'm really, really happy to see this. And that's something I always wondered. Obviously, Marvel did it so good where they made sure to make nearly every character in the story that they were trying to tell kind of mean something, have their own story going in, their backstory, a little bit of back history, so that everyone kind of knew who everyone was. But I've always felt like DC, in particular, the Batman franchise, they never really kind of utilized that with all of the just simply awesome villains that Batman has. Um, Obviously, you have the big ones like Joker and Scarecrow and Two-Face and Penguin and Mr. Freeze and Poison Ivy and Catwoman. Those are kind of the usual go-tos, but there's so many other great villains that have never really got their time to shine and that they could definitely utilize to make DC into something much larger and in specific to the Batman franchise. And in fact, I've always felt like the DC villains were a lot better than the Marvel villains, and a lot of that comes from the Batman franchise. I am just so in love with the Batman villains. There's so many good ones out there, and I'm so happy to see Clayface is getting his own film. I'm definitely interested to check this out and see where it leads for the DC universe. I know that the DC universe has been in such shambles for like 10 plus years with the movies and the casting and just restarts and everything. And so it's really kind of terrible to think back on, but hopefully they can finally get a footing here and move forwards to really put together a really amazing project for the future for the DC universe. But yeah, I'll send it over to Coke again. Have you had any experience with anything Batman related? Are you a fan of the Batman series or movies, films? And what did you think about Clayface here?
Yeah, not really a fan. Not really like just it's whatever to me. I mean, I played a few of the games over the years, and I mean, it seems interesting. It's just like some layperson who doesn't really have an opinion otherwise on it.
Okay, and hype. Certainly, you've basically seen all the Batman films, right? You're kind of up and up on Batman lore and Clayface, at least a little bit.
Not so much Clayface. I have seen Batman films, not a whole mess because honestly, until it started marking DC Studios, I was like, oh, this must be comic book stuff. So when is he gonna be in Infinity Wars? What's going on? And then it's like DC, I was like, oh, that's where this guy's from.
Yeah, that's the thing. Marvel has done such a great job with just taking over the superhero theme and aesthetic in Hollywood for movies, that anytime you see kind of like what looks to be maybe a superhero, people are mostly going to think, oh, it's another Marvel, something from Marvel. But no, there is DC out there, and they're trying to get their footing out in Hollywood as well. And it's just a shame what has happened to DC through the years with all the different casting changes and choices and the restarts and just everything else. And you'd like to think that maybe they can finally get a footing here, get a solid concrete cast of characters for all the heroes and villains, and really get something going here, kind of like Marvel did. But I'd love to see it again. I'm a huge fan of all the Batman villains. I'm glad to see Clayface is finally getting a movie here in October, and I will definitely go see this. The CGI, the effects of the face being kind of just like clay, like a sculpt, was really freaky. And I absolutely love it. I can't wait to see what they do. I just hope it's not too CGI, not too fake looking, considering Clayface can kind of just morph into basically whatever he wants because he's just basically a walking clay figure. He can turn his arms into hammers and, stretch out or do whatever, morph into basically anything. And then like just yeah. But I just hope the CGI isn't too ridiculous. But from the trailer here, it looks like it was really creepy and done really well done, in my opinion. So I'm looking forward to seeing more of that. All right, that'll conclude our movies block. We've got 4 games to get into here. First up, we've had the new expansion for Diablo 4 that just came out. And the fight against Mephisto is continuing on. The Paladin and the Warlock classes have now been added. There's new skill tree updates, and just basically Diablo 4 has been overhauled for the end game. And it is now out as of 2 days ago of the recording of this podcast. Diablo 4 Lord of Hatred. Here's a trailer for this. My game is already updated on my Xbox and PC, so I'm already locked into this. It's just finding a time to jump right in and try out that new Warlock class. Let's take a look at this new update to Diablo 4.
On this day, a pilgrim comes to our shores. Let him wash in the waters.
It is in our nature to hate, and that is why I've brought you here.
He's a demon. The mainland burns because of him. You're in danger. Skovos is where Lilith and Inarius created mankind. I am your reckoning. If it's hell you want, I can arrange a meeting. Tricks. I cannot stop his schemes alone.
No, you need me.
I will make Mephisto pay for this. We both will, my friend. We both will.
Oh yeah, super awesome. Watching this definitely makes me want to jump right in right now. Glad to see Lilith is back after the base game ended the way it did. Now the eyes have turned over to my favorite of the 4 demon gods, and that's Mephisto. Always brings me back to Act 3 from Diablo 2. Durance of Hate. Love that. Mephisto has always been one of my favorites, if not my favorite. So it looks like we'll be battling him now with the help of, I guess, his daughter Lilith, the original villain of Diablo 4. But 2 new classes, skill tree upgrades, and just a big overhaul with a bunch of stuff. Again, it came out 2 days ago, and I am certainly looking forward to jumping right back into this and actually being very curious about what the new achievements are for this, because some of those base game Diablo 4 achievements were pretty rough, and I still have not unlocked all of them, but I'm working on them. But yeah, this looks amazing. I wouldn't expect anything less from Blizzard. They always do a great job with cinematics and getting you hyped up for what their next project is. Coke, what are you thinking about Diablo 4, this new update and expansion? I'm not sure. We did play Diablo 4 base game. What were your thoughts on that? And do you think this might bring you back?
It kind of makes me actually want to buy the expansions and play them. So, I mean, that's probably, I mean, as positive you can possibly be
Yeah, I mean, it's
on
just
it, you know?
4 players with your friends being able to go through the
Yeah.
campaign in a game like this, and it's I mean, it's Diablo. You can't
Yeah, I
go
mean,
wrong with
it's
it.
basically it's Diablo. It's more of the same. You know, that's not a bad thing. Just slightly different, just more content. And
Yeah, two new classes to try out.
I mean, it's like, you know, classic Tomb Raider, TRLEs, more of the same. You like it, you like it. If you don't like it, I don't really think this would change anything.
Right.
But yeah, I
Yep.
mean, it is what it is.
You'll definitely be seeing me play a lot of this as soon as I get some time cleared away for it, for sure. Hype, what
hell
about
yeah.
Hype? What about you? You got any experience with Diablo? And does this look pretty cool? Something you would play right up your alley?
Potentially, I've never played a Diablo game before, and I'm always down to try new games, especially like large scale MMO team building games. I know we did Overwatch for a while, so we have some history with Blizzard. Chalk played WoW with you guys for multitudes of hours, but I've never played a game like this, and unless I can really take time off and dedicate time to it, I don't know if it'll be something that I'll play unless I just get that wild hair and just want to try it out.
Yeah, this is definitely one of those games which is typical for Blizzard that you really just need to set aside some time and be able to play. I mean, it's nice to sit down and just have a one-off and play it just to see if you like it, but to really get a grasp of the game they're trying to tell you, if it's a Blizzard game, you're going to have some time to sit there and play it for sure. But yeah, this looks super exciting. I am very excited to play this, and I can't wait to jump and dive right into it and create my brand new warlock here on Diablo 4 Lord of Hatred. You can probably check out a lot of this content out on my Twitch stream. I'll probably be Twitch streaming it a lot here in the near future as well, if you'd like to see some of my live content for Diablo 4 in this new expansion. But all right, we're going to move on to our next game for the games block, and this is a game that just came out. It's a fun little FPS game with a take on it that you don't really see a whole lot. And I actually received a key for this game for the Xbox, so I will actually be playing this very soon. I got a key from the developers to play this, and I'm really excited to see this. I've been seeing and hearing about this game leading up to the release, and I've watched another streamer play this the other night. It actually looks really, really good. But let's take a look at Mouse PI for Hire, a brand new take on the FPS gaming genre.
Welcome to the trap, mouse!
Some falls don't begin in the sky. Mine started a few weeks back. The sky was just the exit wound.
Hey, what?
Now, welcome to public transit, bub.
It didn't seem like much at first. Wasn't even sure it was a case.
This, Mr. Pepper, is the big one.
But something within me, I don't know, old instinct maybe, said turn back.
Get some solid evidence, and we'll get to the bottom of this in no time.
This case was more trouble than it was worth. But, well, trouble is what I do.
There you go, Mouse PI for Hire. I've been seeing this game pop up here and there through Steam and social media and games coming out for a while now, and it's finally released. And as I said, I got a key for it. I'll be streaming it on my Twitch stream and doing a playthrough of it. I'm curious what the achievements are going to be like, but it definitely looks like a fun little time. If you're a fan of FPS games, you know, like your usual FPS games, COD, Battlefield. Honestly, though, looking at this game, it really looks like BioShock had a baby with Mickey Mouse in Cuphead. Cuphead and Mickey Mouse had a baby with BioShock, and that's kind of the vibes I'm getting from this. I certainly have never seen an FPS game look like this before, with the effects and the the artistry and just the way the game looks. It's very interesting, and I can't wait to see how the gunplay works in this as well. But from the stream I saw of someone playing this the other day, it actually looks pretty fluid, actually. So I'm looking forward to trying this game out. Coke, I know you love those FPS games, and that's basically one of the few genres you play religiously. Is this something that you think you might give a shot at, given its difference in art style and graphics?
Oh, hell yeah. I love the aesthetic. I just, the gameplay, just everything about it looks. I mean, I'll watch you play it, and then I'll, think, decide after that. But yeah, I mean, just looking at this, I think it looks amazing. I like, games that just have their own, aesthetic and everything.
And the funny thing about the trailer, and this is the first time I've watched the trailer, but I don't know if you caught it, but they mentioned two things that are relevant to us as a community, like within the same sentence. And they said, Mr. Pepper or something. Mr. Pepper, this is about the big one.
Uh-oh.
Jack
Pepper.
Pepper, yeah.
Bringing up the big one, huh?
Yeah. Well,
Okay,
look,
this is
Jack
just
Pepper. It's not Jack Winters. It's Jack Pepper, not Dr. Pepper, but Jack Pepper, Private Eye.
Jack Pepper and the big one.
And they talked about the big one.
Just, made it just specifically for us.
Exactly. Yeah. How wild is that? I had no idea because the first time I watched the trailer, but yeah, it looks really fun. I can't wait to try it out on the Twitch stream. Hype, what are you thinking about this? Is this something that looks interesting to you that you'd try out, or not really?
Yeah, I would definitely try it out. And the way that you described it, where it's, Mickey Mouse meets Cuphead meets BioShock, was right along the same mindset that I was going with. But instead of BioShock, because that was more of like a steampunk type of aesthetic, what kind of caught my eye is this just made me think Mickey Mouse meets Cuphead meets Dick Tracy. Just from like the different kind of shapes and stuff that you can have with the characters.
Mm-hmm.
And with that whole 30s, 40s vibe to it, you just get that. See right there in the traffic jam, that just kind of reminds me of like the Dick Tracy film.
Yeah, for sure. The fact that he's a private investigator as well, just wearing that classic.
It's a good spin, and you gotta be kind of careful with games like this because it looks very child drawn. Like it looks like it's supposed to appeal more towards kids, kind of like the Cuphead theme, where it's not a whole lot of gore, still looks a bit cartoonish. So as I tried, I'm definitely gonna be watching out for like how the graphics look as opposed to like just gore, bloodshed, kind of things like that. And I hope they keep it with the aesthetic where it's kind of cartoony, not blood and gore or anything like that, because that can kind of detract from the aesthetic from the game. But it actually looks like it'd be a heck of a lot of fun.
Yeah, another game I can't wait to give a shot at and see how it plays. I'm really mostly intrigued on how the gameplay or the gunplay is going to work in this. But again, I saw someone streaming this the other night, and it looked very fluid. So I'm really can't wait to jump in and give this a shot and see how it goes. All right. But yeah, that's Mouse PI for Hire. It is out now on all platforms. Check it out. Inspired by classic 1930s cartoons. Private investigator Jack Pepper, who is voiced by Troy Baker, by the way. He's back. Check it out. Definitely an FPS game you will remember because there's not really a whole lot out there like it. All right, on to our next bit of gaming news, and this is a huge one. As soon as I heard about this, I said, "No, you can't be serious. This is a joke, right?" I've been clamoring for this for years. Every time a Game Awards comes out, every time Jeff Keighley comes out on stage and says, "Oh, we got a world premiere," I'm like, Alien Isolation. Come on, let's go. Alien Isolation. I've been saying it for years. And finally, we're going to get it. This long-awaited sequel to Alien Isolation. I am so freaking hyped for this. No pun intended. Let's take a look at it. I have not actually seen the trailer yet. I was waiting for the podcast to watch it. Here we go. Let's take a look. Boy, that was a super short and quick one. They don't really give you a whole lot, just the doors opening there on the planet. It almost looks like is that the was it LV-431? The place where aliens takes place, the civilization? I don't know. I'd have to look closer and get some time to research, but man, I am super stoked for this. I loved Alien Isolation. I got all the achievements on it on the Xbox. Playing through it on the hardest difficulty to the end was so nerve-wracking, and I was so full of anxiety, not knowing where the xenomorph was going to come out at, and just the xenomorph constantly tracking you down. You don't know what vent he's going to pop out of and insta-kill you from. What a great experience. What a great game. And what a great October late at night lights off game to play. And they are back again. I am so happy for this. I've been clamoring for this for years, and I'm so glad it's finally going to come out. As it stands today, the trailer released through IGN April 26th. As it stands, there's not really a whole lot of details about it, like release date or anything else. Literally, they just dropped this trailer, and they gave you a close-up of the emergency save, where you save your game, the emergency phone booth kind of thing there, so you know exactly what this is. And they just leave it to your imagination. I can't wait to see more of this. I am super happy for that. I'm a huge Aliens fan. Coke, what do you think about this? I'm not sure if you played Alien Isolation or not, but man, you got to be happy to see another Aliens game like this.
No, I have not played it, but I do have it. I think I got it as like a freebie on Epic or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I can't wait to watch you play this one, and watch you get scared, and I can make fun of you or whatever, typical Coke stuff.
Yep. I'm usually the guinea pig, so people can watch and see what I play if they decide they want to play it as well and go through the same chaos. Hype, what about you? Did you ever play Alien Isolation, or are you an Aliens fan at all?
I like the movies a lot. I used to get the old loot box subscription, so one of the things that I really kept and I always keep with me, in my work area is my little face hugger stuffed animal. So, not a huge diehard Alien fan. I've seen the movies. I like the movies. This one doesn't reveal a whole lot. It's just kind of that little bitty teaser trailer. But no, if it's anything like Alien Isolation, it's going to be a great game, and I actually look forward to playing it off stream.
Absolutely. Yeah. And if it weren't for the close-up shot of the emergency booth that you use in Alien Isolation, people could probably, I mean, the door kind of gives it away a little bit, but it still could be something else similar. But the close-up to the emergency booth where you save your game in the original game just lets it be known, like, hey, we're back. And I am so happy for this. I can't wait to get more details about the Alien Isolation sequel and play this immediately. All right, we have one more bit of gaming news to touch for this episode of the podcast. We're back with PowerWash Simulator 2, and it just seemed like not too long ago we had the Adventure Time DLC for PowerWash Simulator 2, which was the first paid DLC for the game. We did live stream it. I believe it was me and Signified and Puerto Rican Chipmunk played through the Adventure Time all 5 levels of the first PowerWash Simulator Adventure Time DLC. And now they are back again and now immediately announcing the next one, the next paid DLC for PowerWash 2 is, guess what? Going to be Star Wars themed. So we're going to be cleaning and power washing 5 levels through the Star Wars DLC universe let's take a look at this trailer. I've not actually watched the trailer yet. I usually like to kind of keep this for first time impressions for the podcast. Let's take a look at this and see what we got. This is a super short one, 30 seconds long. Nice. Well, it lets you basically see two things. Well, I guess Mos Eisley looks like you'd be cleaning Mos Eisley. Looks like right there in one part of this 30-second trailer. An X-Wing, I think that's what you call those, X-Wings. We'll be cleaning one of those. And then I think a segment of probably the Death Star, maybe? Little section of the Death Star, I guess. So that gives you kind of hints of 3 different areas you'll be cleaning out of the 5 map DLC. But this is super awesome. Anytime PowerWash comes out, I am immediately on board and playing it and take my money. Especially in PowerWash 2, where you can actually have 4 people join you. Actually, I think you can have 8 people join you on the DLC, even if it's your first time through. We had 3 of us, like I said, on the Adventure Time DLC not too long ago, just literally a few weeks ago. So this is going to be a lot of fun. Star Wars has finally joined up with PowerWash. Super stoked. As everyone knows, PowerWash is one of my favorite games of all time. And yeah, like I said, just take my money. What do you think about this, Coke? Star Wars is here. We finally get to clean around the galaxy far, far away.
Yeah, just make sure not to accidentally spray Darth Vader. Yeah, I mean, what can I say? It's awesome. It's PowerWash, except it's Star Wars. I mean, PowerWash is awesome. Just more content for it, and like different universes makes it that much better.
Absolutely.
I'm wondering, what kind of DLC crossover would you like to see for PowerWash?
Oh man, you know what? Let's get Hype's response on the Star Wars DLC, and then that's a great question for each of us 3 to answer.
Well, for PowerWash Simulator, the Star Wars stuff, I know Epic is dealing a lot with Star Wars stuff, so I'm assuming they just got the licensing rights to do Star Wars because Fortnite's coming up with a big Star Wars expansion as well. If you didn't know that. But no, I hope it's going to be great. I hope to see some of the main characters from the films in there. So maybe, BB-8 or R2-D2 got a little dirty out on a flight, and you got to watch them just as much and have R2-D2 curse you out in beeps. But as towards your question, yes, that is an X-Wing fighter. So I'm wondering how true it's going to be, what characters we're going to see, and we're going to be able to see like the TIE fighters, washing out the battle cruisers, things like that. So it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun for something that just brings you back to your childhood with the Star Wars stuff, but also just kind of a laid back, chill game, not too intensive, play heavy, and just something you can hang out and have fun with your friends.
Absolutely. And that's one of the biggest reasons why PowerWash is definitely one of my favorite games, the first one and the second one. Just so many great maps, good times, good vibes, so many fun moments cleaning through all the different levels and stuff through the 2 games. But to answer your question, Coke, like what crossover would we all like to see next for PowerWash? My answers to that question are kind of taboo because I know PowerWash tries to stay within the realm of like PG-13, I guess. So you can't really be like cleaning up blood and guts and gore splattered on the walls and the floor and stuff. But honestly, my answer is probably going to be pretty obvious. I would love to see PowerWash collab with Resident Evil. Can you imagine just cleaning like the main mansion hall from the first game, or the main lobby of the RPD, or the laboratory or something like that, or Leon's police car out in the police garage? or there's so many different things they could go with Resident Evil to clean to get 5 maps out of it. And so that would probably be my answer. I don't know how they would do it to try to keep like I guess you just remove the blood and the zombies and stuff, and you just have like your normal scuff marks and dirt and stuff, and somehow just say like, oh, this is, we're away from the from the zombie outbreak for the time being, and we're just cleaning this now. Or maybe this is before the outbreak takes place. It's like we're cleaning up before everything goes to crap in Raccoon City and Resident Evil. But yeah, there are ways there are ways they could do it. But that would be my answer, is Resident Evil. And just as a bonus answer to your question, this would be even worse because I don't know how you would ever do this. But my second answer, as just a bonus cherry on top, would be Doom. I would love to have PowerWash X Doom DLC collaboration. I think that would be fantastic. But what do you think, Coke?
I was gonna say Doom. I mean, I would love to see E1M1. But yeah, I mean, you kind of took it from me there. But yeah, just imagine, E1M1 having to clean it up.
I'm surprised you didn't mention like Metal Gear, something Metal Gear.
That. Who knows? I mean,
like
they might try to do something like that because
like cleaning Metal Gear Rex or
oh god,
like one of the factory warehouse levels, or
yeah, I was thinking maybe
Otacon's office or something.
Like the tanks early on in like the hangar, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
I could actually see Metal Gear collabing with PowerWash before Doom or Resident Evil, to be honest. I think that's more of a likelihood to have that happen. But yeah, I think that would be a cool one as well. Hype, what do you think? What would be a cool crossover for PowerWash to come for next?
Well, for me, just to stay with the PG-13 stuff, keep it really light, get to have a lot of fun with it. My collaboration with this, my mashup would be PowerWash Simulator meets golf with your friends. So I know we've all gone to those mini golf courses that they don't take perfect care of the area, gets a bit dirty, all that sorts of stuff. So my way of incorporating the two would be is like you finish cleaning off the hole, everything's all nice and clean, and then you get to putt the hole.
That would be pretty cool. I could see that before any of the other choices being a collab. Like you get to clean some of the more popular and notorious courses from Golf with Your Friends with PowerWash, because you only get 5 levels per DLC. I could totally see that, actually.
Yeah, and it would just add that extra elevated bit of fun to it. Is like, oh yeah, hey, not only did we get paid, but we're also gonna putt, so we're actually playing 2 games in one here.
Yeah, and spray the golf balls into the. Yeah, I got you.
Oh my god, we just spray each other's balls just all over the place, and nobody would ever make a putt.
Right. Nice. Yeah, it with all these collabs that they've had from the first game, and now already Adventure Time, and now Star Wars, and it just goes to show that it doesn't have to be contained to the gaming collaboration. They've done movies, they've done films, they've done Back to the Future, they've done SpongeBob. There's the possibilities are endless for what they could do next. It doesn't have to be gaming. So Star Wars is coming out. I don't think do they have a date? No, it just says summer 2026. So keep your eyes peeled for the next big content update for PowerWash Simulator. That will be in the summer for Star Wars. We'll definitely be doing that on our Twitch live stream, and that content will be posted up on my YouTube as well. But all right, that'll conclude gaming news. We're moving on over to sports now. And it looks like Raji is not going to be able to assist us here this week. So we're going to have to cover sports here. I'll just kind of lay the foundation, the brickwork here. Although I know Coke was there to watch Talladega with me, so he'll also be able to talk a little bit about this. But boy, what a race Talladega was last Sunday. It looked like man, there were so many stories going into this thing with Bubba Wallace being up there at the lead. You've got obviously the Tyler Reddick story throughout the Cup series so far with all the success that he's had, and then Denny Hamlin as well, Ryan Blaney up in there, and wow, and then it all got flipped on its head when the big, I guess you could call it the big one. The big one happened where it was Bubba Wallace trying to stay in the lead, cut in front of another racer, then coming back over, and then Ross Chastain clipping the back of Bubba Wallace's car and causing him to spin out and just create absolute chaos and pandemonium on the track. And I think it was a 25 car involvement. Some of the cars never recovered and were just gone. Luckily, our boy Kyle Busch was involved, was able to continue the race, but this allowed the rest of the cars to finish Talladega after a very crazy finish there. And I just can't help but think that with Chastain being kind of the reason, well, Bubba Wallace too, but Chastain being the reason that Bubba Wallace kind of spun out there, he was actually able to finish the race as well, despite all of that. So was wondering what he was thinking, but you could tell Wallace was upset with the interview that he had after he spun out and couldn't finish the race, as well as the other cars involved that were just collateral damage in it. But what an exciting Talladega. The fans definitely got their money's worth watching this race. And holy cow, that was actually a fun one to watch. I'm gonna be honest with you. Coke, what did you think about Talladega? Did you were you happy with the big one that happened? And what are your thoughts after watching Talladega?
Well, like to begin, with the Dega and Daytona and like the super speedways, the big one is just bound to happen. Like, the pack racing and everything.
Mhm.
But, wow, this one was it was definitely one of the bigger ones of the big ones.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah, and I I don't really care for some of the dudes that were involved in the big ones. I was kind of, cheering it on, but at the same time, I don't want people to get injured. It's just, dark. It just, but yeah, as
Mhm.
you were saying about like Bubba Wallace being mad, all that, I was kind of like getting, probably a bit too giddy over it. Like, those clowns, I don't got them.
Well, what did you think
Yeah, I
about
mean, it was kind
what did you think about Carson coming in first and finishing Talladega? Was that something that you expected,
nah,
or
that's if someone told me, Carson's gonna win Talladega, I'd be like, yeah, well, what are you smoking? Can I have some? I just did not think, he just did not seem like the kind of guy that would have won.
well, he started off in the 12th position. Of course, he finished the entire race, led by 19. Chevy picks up a big one there with the win. Ford coming in second with Chris Buescher, Alex Bowman coming in third, Chase Elliott fourth, Zane Smith fifth, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. sixth, and Ross Chastain, basically the cause of knocking like 20 cars out of the race, coming in seventh. And of course, Kyle Busch coming in 10th, placing 10th at Talladega, able to basically get through that giant cluster unscathed. And his starting position was number 34. So he came out looking pretty good after all that. But as it stands right now, after Talladega, obviously Tyler Reddick's still going to be in first place with 484 points. We got Denny Hamlin coming in second, 374. Ryan Blaney Ford, after the two Toyotas, Ryan Blaney coming in third at 344. Chase Elliott 340 with Chevy, the top Chevy stander right there. Ty Gibbs, fifth place. Kyle Larson, sixth. Chris Buescher, seventh. Carson Alcivar, the big winner from Talladega, coming in eighth. And Christopher Bell, ninth. And of course, rounding out the top 10 is Ford, Brad Keselowski, who drops a point, actually. because William Byron and Bubba Wallace both dropping 4 points after the result of Talladega there. But yeah, that was a crazy race. I was glad to actually sit there and watch it happen as it happened. I remember we were all just like going nuts seeing all those cars just involved in it. And man, coming up I believe this Sunday is going to be Texas Motor Speedway now in Fort Worth. So we'll see who walks out with the big win there. And will Toyota continue? Will Michael Jordan's team continue the dominance as well going into this? And who's going to walk out the big winner this weekend? We'll have to keep our eyes peeled on that one, see if Bubba Wallace can come back, make the big comeback and do well at Texas Motor Speedway. Hype, were you able to catch any of the race on Sunday at all, or do you have any thoughts about what happened at Talladega?
I didn't get to watch it. I did listen to it because, I was doing that drive down to Florida, and I was able to tune in because I got Sirius XM in the truck, and I was able to catch a lot of the race there. And some of the impressive stuff that I caught out, especially with Carson Hocevar, actually pretty impressive. He's only 23 years old, and this was his first career Cup victory. So
that's right.
Surviving a 25 car pileup to end up taking over, finishing first place in the final lap is pretty big. But you can really see the age in him when I looked at the highlight reels of it, because you hear everything, but then you kind of want to just be able to see everything on it. And like, I don't know if you caught his burnout after he took the checkered flag.
We watched it.
That was actually like a pretty strong statement, because he probably got a little bit of a no from NASCAR, but there he was, literally like sitting on his door panel, net down. Normally they'll have a flag out, a hand out, and they're waving as they're doing the burnouts. Hocevar, he literally jumps up, grabs the steering wheel with one hand, and he's throttling through doing donuts while he's sitting on the door.
And then he bumps into the guardrail.
Yeah.
I remember the commentators were saying that it reminded them of the old Dale Earnhardt when his windshield was cracked, and he like basically sat on the hood and like ran it through, and then got back into his car or something like that. I was like, dang, that's pretty wild.
Yeah, but big crash. It's the big one. I am not surprised to see that it took a lot of Bubba Wallace influence to cause that one. He seems to be the main culprit in a lot of large scale incidences out on the racetrack.
I know that interview, he was very sarcastic and he didn't look happy. I think Joey Logano was also a casualty of the big one as well. I think they interviewed him. He was just as sarcastic and just like rolling his eyes.
Yeah, well, I bet you there was 23 other guys that were doing the same thing. They just didn't have the press.
Right. Yeah. Well, it was definitely an interesting one at Talladega. I was glad to actually be here to sit down and watch the race. We all had a fun time with it. It's sucks that Grem and RAJI aren't here to kind of talk about it as well, because we were all there watching together, and I'm sure they would have a lot to add to this topic, but it is what it is. Texas Motor Speedway this Sunday, and we'll be back on the next episode of the podcast to talk about what happened there. Yeah, that'll wrap up our NASCAR news. We're going to move over to the NBA here. And let me refresh this because, okay, yeah, it has updated. All right. So right now in the NBA playoffs situation, we have my OKC Thunder, #1 seed, putting down the Suns 4-0. So they have moved over to the semifinals. They'll be facing the winner of the Lakers and the Rockets. And right now the Lakers are leading 3-2. So that's still TBD. We do have the Spurs picking up the win over the Trailblazers 4-1. So they have also moved into the semifinals as we await the winner between the Nuggets and the T-Wolves. Right now, the T-Wolves are ahead 3-2 over the Nuggets, which is surprised me. I really thought the Nuggets were going to run away with that. number 3 seed. They really surprised a lot of people last year, as we said on the last episode of the podcast. But we'll see how that one pans out between the Nuggets and the T-Wolves, as to who faces off with the Spurs on the West semifinals on the West side. And then over on the East, we do have the number 1 seed Pistons and the Magic going head to head. Orlando leads right now 3-2 on that. The Cavaliers and the Raptors right now. Cleveland's ahead 3-2 there as well. And at the time of this recording in this podcast, the Knicks absolutely. I got to see what the score of that was, because what was the score of that? I got to look this up. Oh my God. The Knicks at the time of this podcast absolutely throttled the Atlanta Hawks 140-89. Whew.
That's a rough one. I remember when this was, back in the Dream Team era, when a high scoring game would be in the 90s, not 140s.
Right. Yeah, that's wild. Like, we were kind of keeping one eye on the score here while we were doing this podcast, and I was really curious to see what the result of it was going to be, but it's no surprise. The Knicks have moved on to the conference semifinals over on the East, just absolutely demolishing the Hawks. So they'll be facing the winner of the Celtics and the 76ers. Right now, Boston leads 3-2. So we're in full go mode on the playoffs. We'll see what happens, and we'll have more to report next on the next episode of the podcast. And we'll see who my Oklahoma City Thunder will be playing as they continue to move one step closer to winning the NBA championship 2 years back to back. I really hope they do. What a great team they are, and absolutely just taking it to the Suns 4-0 in the first round. We'll see if that continues in the semifinals, whether they face the Lakers or the Rockets. Obviously, I have a personal invested interest in that. But yeah, that's your NBA report for this week. And we are going to move on over to WWE. Man, this is weird. Just kind of like me just being here instead of Grem or RAJI.
I'm here. Don't forget.
All right. Well, I'm glad you are here to offer some insight. We're going to move over to WWE news now. First up, there's this thing going around right now where apparently, as reported by WrestleOps on social media, as of 1 o'clock this afternoon, apparently it's being reported that WWE is in active negotiations to bring WrestleMania 44 to Nashville, Tennessee. And from the comments that we've had that I've been seeing on this, people who live in the Nashville area are saying that's a terrible idea, because the city is just not suitable for something as massive scale as this. And that's why they've never had a Super Bowl in Nashville before. I don't know. I mean, I don't live there. I mean, obviously I've been there and drove through there and done business there, but I'm not there enough to really know one way or the other for it. But I think that would be kind of cool to bring an event on a massive scale like this to Nashville. It would certainly be a first time ever to bring it there, and certainly give a lot of fans in that area a chance to actually attend WrestleMania, of course, if they can afford the tickets to go. And especially after WrestleMania being 2 years back to back in Las Vegas, 2026 and 2025, WrestleMania was both in Vegas back to back. And I believe next year is it already confirmed that it's, let me see, WrestleMania 20, I think they already locked that down, that it's going to be,
are they going back to Saudi Arabia?
That's what I thought. 2020. Yeah. It looks. I knew they had talked about it, but I didn't know if they had locked.
Yeah, it's going to be back in Riyadh.
Okay, so I guess that's actually confirmed now. I know they were talking about it. I didn't know if they actually locked that down or not. But yeah, next year's WrestleMania will be in Riyadh in Saudi Arabia. So I know a lot of people are like, wow, really? But I guess they're talking about for 2028, WrestleMania 44, bringing it back stateside again. And Nashville is currently kind of in talks for hosting it. Again, I don't really have a dog in this fight. I don't really know one way or the other for like some of the people saying that it's not sustainable for an event this size for Nashville. I mean, I don't know, but just in terms of an outsider looking in, I think it'd be cool to have Nashville host it. It's definitely in a part of the United States where wrestling is pretty prominent, dating back to the old days, like territory days and stuff. So Nashville and specifically Memphis, Memphis wrestling is just storied and rich. So I think it kind of makes sense in that regard, but we'll have to follow this and see if they actually come through and decide that that's where they're going to do it, or if there's other cities in contention to host it or not. But yeah, we'll keep an eye on this. Do you have any opinion on this hype about WrestleMania? Obviously, Saudi Arabia is confirmed, so we're just talking about 2028 at this rate.
Yeah, and looking over it, the reason why they're eyeing Nashville so much is because Nashville, they're building the new whole entire stadium. It's going to be the Nissan Stadium, and so they want to start attracting some larger events. And I think that's going to help with the local economy there in Nashville, because yes, the smaller wrestling venues, the local federations, they're still pretty prominent in a bit of the backwoods Tennessee. But Nashville, that's country music headquarters right there. So they're building this new stadium. They just put in a bid for $3.5 million plus tax breaks to try and get WWE TKO to do WrestleMania there, because they just want to hype this new big stadium.
Yeah, I see one of the comments here that Nashville is building the brand new Nissan Stadium. So yeah, that I'm sure that absolutely has a hand to play in this being brought up as a potential.
And maybe if the local area can start accommodating to some of these larger crowds, maybe, since I think it's actually going to be an indoor stadium, since it doesn't have to deal with a whole lot of snow or anything, which is why typically Super Bowls are hosted inside covered stadiums instead of outside, just because that way they can predict the weather a lot better. It's going to give more opportunities for larger events, like maybe a Super Bowl here in the next, 5-10 years, coming into Nashville and starting to boost up that economy with those larger events.
Absolutely, yeah. Weather certainly has a lot to play with that. WrestleMania is always around in the March, April timeframe, so you still got some weather to worry about there, depending on where you're at in the U.S. But yeah, we'll keep an eye on this. We'll see what they talk about for 2028. Surely there's a lot of other cities also at the table trying to bargain for WrestleMania 44, and we'll keep our eyes on this. All right, moving on. We're going to stay on track with WWE. Probably the biggest news out of anything right now in the professional wrestling world is as of April 24th, there was a huge, massive, just absolute cut into the WWE roster. Lots of big names were released. Lots of surprises, actually. And I know there's a lot of critics out there and fans that are very unhappy with some of these names that were just sent to the cutting block from WWE. And what the crazy thing about this is that this is still kind of the aftermath of WrestleMania. So this is like their biggest quarter of the year for finances and financials and stuff. But they've always been kind of known to do these kind of cuts after WrestleMania, which is, I guess, them trying to, clean house a little bit after their biggest event of the entire year. It's just a shame that some of these names on this list that I'm about to read off are a culmination of that, because some of these names really don't make much sense in some way or another, depending on how recently they were just recently hired or what they were involved with storytelling wise on television, what programs or feuds, rivalries they were involved in at the time. And then now suddenly they're just cut off the roster. But I'll just read off some of these from the main roster here. Aleister Black and his wife, Zelina Vega, both cut. Santos Escobar, the Motor City Machine Guns, Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin, who are recently just brought into WWE, seems like a year, 2 years ago, if that. Kairi Sane is probably the biggest one people are super upset about. Like, they have no idea why she was released. A lot of people very unhappy about that. Apollo Crews also released. And of course, you're going to see a theme here with some of these other names: Joe Gacy, Nikki Cross, Bo Dallas, and Dexter Loomis and Eric Rowan, all a part of the Wyatt Six stable, which is basically like the creepy, scary group that the WWE had on the roster, basically a tribute group, a scary horror tribute theme group for Bray Wyatt, who passed away several years ago. And so every single member of that stable released. So we will not be seeing them again on the programming, which a lot of people scratching their heads on that one too, because they were recently kind of featured prominently in a big rivalry against the Samoans and leading up to a big feud and stuff with that. So now they're all gone. And then also you have Alba Fire also released, Zoe Stark also released, Andre Chase of the Chase U stable from NXT, he's been cut, and Dante Chen also cut. Again, some of these names are real head scratchers. I know in particular, I was seeing on social media, they were, websites were reporting these cuts, fan websites or reporting websites that just cover wrestling news and stuff. They have backstage leaks or whatever that report to them and their website. But I know they were releasing these names as they were being released through like rumor mills and stuff and in leaks. And they were putting Zelina Vega's in particular name out on websites and stuff before she had a chance to really make a social media post letting her fans know, her family know that she found out she had been cut from WWE. And she really took to I think she was streaming on Twitch actually, because she is a gamer. She does stream. It might have been YouTube, but she was doing a live stream and she just went off on one of the reporters. I believe it was Sean Ross Sapp, who reported that she had been cut from WWE, and she just went off on him and said, if some of these reporters out here would at least give us talent a chance to actually, tell our fans and our family first that we had been released, instead of having them find out through Twitter and these reporting websites, that'd be really, really fucking nice, or something like that. She said, like, basically, fuck these people or something, to which the reporter replied back on his social media, and he said, well, look, I mean, I'm sorry about this, but I'm just doing my job. And so that was kind of a really interesting back and forth to hear about. Like, I can see both sides of the coin. Like, if I were in one of these wrestlers' talent shoes, I would want to be able to tackle this bad news on my own terms and let my own fans know on my social media, my Instagram, whatever, that I had been released from WWE before one of these websites that are like kind of like vultures going for the hottest news reports it before me. So I can see it from that point of view, and I can also see it from the news reporting side of things as well. Is they're just doing their job. They're just reporting the news for the wrestling industry, and don't blame them. Bad things happen, they report, and good things happen, they also report. So that was kind of an interesting exchange to see over the weekend. And and I think a lot of fans are just collectively just sad. Anytime you see names like this getting cut from WWE, it's a person's dream that is no longer going. It's probably a professional wrestler's dream and admirations to finally make it to WWE and perform on that level in that sport, in that industry. And to be cut from that and released, it's never a good time. So you can only feel for people that are cut, whether they're on the main roster or on the developmental contracts as well. So yeah, it just kind of adds salt to the wound when you don't even get a chance to tackle it first, and a website does it for you before you even get a chance to like really realize what's happened to your career, But yeah, sad day. A lot of wrestling fans super upset and just not very happy right now with this news of releases. Coker Hype, did you have anything to add to this, like in terms of just maybe just a third party standard buy? Because I know neither of you really get that involved with the WWE, but from just a employer / employment point of view, and then like the wrestling newsletter point of view, like what's your take on that? Do you think who do you think's in the right, or is it just a bad situation overall?
Like, to begin, I think it's wild they do this right after, like, WrestleMania things and everything. And then, like, they should give, like, the people, warning before they release it to the media. So they, like, as, you said, the person said about, let them say their goodbyes instead of having, like, a journalist do it for them, force their hand.
Yeah. I feel like they should give them some like time, but when you have these leaks, these reporters have inside leaks, maybe people in the locker room, maybe people on the staff or the board working behind the scenes that have connections to these news, and they just have these leaks, and that's how they get this news for their wrestling websites. So it's really hard to prevent that from happening. But yeah, I feel like just from whether it be WWE or wrestling or whatever, any job, any place of employment, when it's like this kind of publicity scale of publicity, I feel like there should be like some kind of like leeway point where you just allow them to, announce that they've departed from their place of employment before it just spreads all over the website. What do you think about that hype? Do you think there should be something in place for that, or?
Well, yeah, there should be, there should be that offboarding process anytime you have to let go of an employee, especially with something with that much publicity, because you have not only because like Aleister Black should be name under WWE copyright, just like Paige when she went over to AEW. She wasn't allowed to use her regular wrestling name. That's why she went by Soraya, her real name. You gotta start dealing with those on a business front. But a lot of these wrestlers that are getting released, like you said, the big one that everybody was, kind of like in awe about was Kiari Sane, especially dealing with Io Sky. Io Sky is getting huge with the tie-in with Rhea Ripley right now. So, Kiari Sane isn't getting as much screen time. And that's what, from a business standpoint, a lot of these releases are probably due to, broken down negotiations and contract salary negotiations. Some of them aren't performing well within a storyline that the creative section wants to do, or the storyline isn't panning out like the writers wanted it to be, because this is all a performance. A lot of the storylines or the rivalries are actually just they're I don't want to say it's fake, but it's written, it's a written story. And these along with the developmental releases actually do away with a couple of business aspects of it. One, in case WWE had to do any budget cuts, they had to release superstars in order to make budget requirements for. They got to keep a certain amount because they have to keep updating their practices, updating their sets. They have high overhead with the travel costs, but also the NXT developmental to go into NXT, and then NXT call-ups to the WWE roster. This is a standard practice that they do every year after WrestleMania, just so that way they can reset storylines. They can get new fresh blood in to go for the next year, so they can start building those storylines. So that way you have that dynamic at WrestleMania, because that's your culminating end of year, quote unquote, event, and that's where all the storylines are supposed to culminate. And they'll have their big showdowns. That's why SummerSlam, Armageddon, all those different events aren't as big as WrestleMania's, because that's your year end. And when something's not working, or working with a superstar is just going to be a little bit a little bit more trouble than it's worth, and you're not getting that return on investment. That's why we always see these release lists right after WrestleMania.
Right. And the other thing to factor in is, and it's kind of my hopeful answer. It's kind of my hopeful solution to this is the fact that some of these names are kind of familiar with TNA, which is currently in a working partnership with WWE. Obviously, TNA has always been its own separate entity based in either Florida or Tennessee from its origins, and used to be on Spike TV, used to be Impact Wrestling. Now it's TNA again, and now they have this working partnership with WWE where they're kind of, I'm not really sure if WWE is helping fund them, probably, or whatever partnership they have, but it's been there for a couple of years now. So it's kind of my hopeful, positive feeling that maybe just because they're released from WWE doesn't mean that they're going to just go straight to TNA and be part of their roster. And specifically the Motor City Machine Guns, Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin, I mean, they're like synonymous with TNA. So it would be very, very not very shocking to see them come back to TNA. They'd just be right back home again, basically. And for a lot of these other names, it wouldn't be too out of the ordinary to see them show up on TNA programming as well. And while they might have been cut by WWE, they'd still be in TNA and therefore, still have basically a partnership with WWE. So that's kind of my hopeful thinking on some of these cuts, but you never know. There's people out there that are going, well, a lot of these names are going to go straight to Tony Khan and over to AEW. He's like licking his chops right now, looking at the buffet table of people he can bring over to his product. And so we'll see where some of these people end up. As we know in the past, some talent just decide, that's it. I did my time. I'm out of wrestling. I'm going to focus on other stuff, or I'm going to start a family or raise my family, spend time with my family. Or in the case of Kairi Sane, maybe she goes back to Japan and just does wrestling there instead of being stateside. Don't know, but we'll keep an eye on it. Definitely a huge shocker, though, for wrestling fans around the world. This absolutely blew up when they started releasing names one by one, and it started to become the game of like, oh no, here's another one. Oh no, here's another name. And just
when will it stop?
Exactly. Yeah, a lot of people were like, man, are they going to ever stop? But man, you look at that WWE roster, and they have so many wrestlers signed. It's whether it's Raw, SmackDown, NXT, Evolve, you've got the developmental area. There's so many wrestlers and talent signed to that company. It's crazy to think that they're able to sustain all of them. And so I feel like something had to give eventually, where they just had to release some people, even if I feel like some of these names don't really make a lot of sense.
Well, one of the questions I would ask you is how many of these aren't going to transpose over to TNA or AEW, but actually go over to Real American Freestyle, which is the promotion that's owned by Eric Bischoff, Izzy Martinez, and the late great Hulk Hogan.
Yes,
and they're doing a bit more of a real live, like not so scripted. It's going to be an actual like wrestling.
Yeah, and by proxy, his son Nick Hogan now, which is broadcasted on Fox. What is their paid service?
I think it's Fox.
Yeah, it's Fox. Fox's paid service. You have to pay for it. I don't know. I mean, a lot of these professional wrestlers, they have a back history in amateur wrestling. Like they went to college, they went to school, they did amateur wrestling growing up, and when that ran its course, they went to professional wrestling, went to a professional wrestling school and learned how to become a professional wrestler. So it's not out of the ordinary to see that. I would think to see some of these people, even though they might be a little bit older compared to some of the other competitors you see on Real American Freestyle, who are much younger, compete on the amateur wrestling mat to go over there. I mean, just a simple name that everybody knows around the world, probably in more current eras, of someone that was an amateur wrestling going through college collegiate and went over to professional wrestling. Brock Lesnar, you know?
Yeah, University of Minnesota.
Exactly. Yeah. So I don't know. It would be interesting to see. I would like to think that they're trying to keep the professional wrestling out of Real American Freestyle, the RAF, and keep it to the mat. But that's not to say that someone who is a former professional wrestler can't come there and there is no theatrics. It's just what you do on the mat too. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. I don't think anyone yet has made that crossover yet, but when that does happen, it would be interesting to see.
Well, the network you were thinking of is Fox Nation.
That's it. Yeah.
And one of the newer commentators.
One of the new commentators is, you kind of cut out there. All right. Looks like Hype cut out there. But we'll get them back, I'm sure. But yeah, that is our news for WWE releases. Again, lots of people really upset about the names featured on this list, but that's just a part of being a wrestling fan. You just come to expect after WrestleMania. You're just kind of expecting
that joint is actually pretty.
Oh, there you are. Are you back? No, he's cutting in and out.
Yeah, sorry.
There he is. Okay, he's back.
My Discord was backlogged.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's the names we had for the releases, and just a sad part of being a wrestling fan. You come to expect this every spring to see who's going to be on that cutting and chopping block, and maybe they'll be back rehired again before you know it. All right, we're going to move on to our Danhausen report. We like covering. We don't really like going too much into the wrestling. We've covered some results on some episodes of the podcast and some not. But one thing we do like to do is kind of track the events and goings on of Danhausen, which has been a really fun addition to WWE programming since he got signed a few months ago. And so we're just going to take a really quick look here at a segment that took place on SmackDown, the April 24th episode of SmackDown, where Danhausen, who is currently in the middle of I guess you could say a rivalry with The Miz, apparently invaded The Miz's home. We'll take a look. This is the first time I've seen this, so we're about to check this out for the first time.
Oh, yeah. This is definitely the place. Says so on Danhausen's starter map. All right. Hello, The Miz. It's I, Danhausen, WWE legend. Who are you looking for?
What the hell are you doing in my house?
Oh, you forgot already. Luckily. So you asked Danhausen to come curse your home, and I said okay, and now I'm here.
How the hell did you find my house?
I have a map of the stars' homes.
Get out!
Oh.
Get out!
Hey, The Miz!
He's in my pool.
Come on in, the water's great.
What are you doing in my pool?
Swimming, obviously.
Get out!
No! Shh! There's people golfing down there. You gotta be quiet. Hey, look at that, Allegiant Stadium.
I know that's Allegiant Stadium.
It's WrestleMania.
I know it's WrestleMania. I know that's a golf course. I know this is a pool. It's my pool. Get out!
Oh, okay.
Get out!
Hey, all right.
Get out!
Calm down. I'll get out of your pool. Satisfied?
You're still in my pool.
No, I'm not. I was in that pool, and now I'm in this pool. You have two pools.
Get out of my pool! Get out of my house! Get out of my life!
Oh, I guess you want to get double cursed just like Tiffany.
There is no curse!
Oh no, my hat! Hey, you got my hat wet.
Not my golf simulator.
Careful. Who is that? You're breaking my concentration.
Anything in my golf. Do you have any idea how expensive that is?
Why are you so wet?
Oh my!
Thanks for the hospitalities. Goodbye, The Miz. Wow, yeah, pretty good. All right, thank you for having Danhausen. Wonderful home, beautiful. Nice chandelier. Ooh, free chocolate. Ooh, tasty. All right. Yes, you guys later, The Miz. Oh.
You.
Me?
You.
Oh, hey, I'm Danhausen.
What?
I'm so sorry. I meant to hit him. I meant to hit him. Danhausen.
Oh, careful, careful. Oh, a spaceship. Very rich. Neat. All right. See you later.
It's my daughter's bike.
Goodbye.
It's my daughter's bike.
All right, well, there you go. Danhausen invading the Miz's home. There you see his wife, Maurice, as well. This has been an ongoing rivalry that has been on WWE television and programming for several weeks now, and gets a lot of laughs out of people. That's why we kind of like to track Danhausen and his shenanigans each week. And they did like a little filmed vignette there from the Miz's house, and damn, what a house. All that WWE money over the years racking up for sure. But that's really funny. Danhausen's comedy gold. I love it. There's one thing I really, really like right now about wrestling, and that's Danhausen. Definitely brings me back to the old 90s wrestling there. The way his style, the way his persona is and everything, and with the whole cursing thing and everything. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. I know Hype, you don't really watch wrestling, as do I, by the way. Don't really watch it regularly, especially now. But from that clip you just saw, is that something that if you saw that on TV, would you continue to flick the channels, or would you be like, oh, this is kind of interesting, I got to see what I got to see what happens here. I got to stay on this channel until I see what the punchline is?
Well, I think the Miz got the punchline with the stroke play on the golf simulator, but no, Danhausen's definitely bringing in a fresh comic relief to the WWE, and he's been doing great things. I've been watching the last few weeks, just trying to stay in with the storyline since WrestleMania, because I've gotten out of it since I was a kid, and just watching some of the newer stuff and seeing some of the newer superstars. But yeah, Danhausen doing that funny little skit at the Miz's place. Of course, it's staged. There wasn't a whole lot of destruction, but it was a good old fashioned slapstick comedy feature to it. And I hope there's more of that, not just with the Miz, but Danhausen goes and starts visiting other people's homes and doing that same kind of comedy bit, because it's just fun, cheeky entertainment.
Yeah, and the reason I use that question on you is I would like to think that a casual person just flicking through TV channels and just trying to find something to watch on the television or whatever, or maybe an old school fan that used to watch it, and they're like, oh, WWE, okay, well, let's see what's happening here, and then you're right in the middle of that. And you're like, okay, what's going on here? I feel like that's something that would bring old fans that remember the old wrestling. It would sucker them in to continue watching to see what's going to happen there. And then I think it would also bring in people that don't necessarily watch wrestling, who are just bored and looking for something to watch, and they flick over to that will keep them drawn in as well. And that's why I think Danhausen's so great and a wonderful addition to the product right now. There's just something about him, his presentation, then the way they're using him has been so good. They've just let him be himself. They've let him utilize his character that he's used since before he was in WWE, and he does it so well. And there's so many different characters that he can interact with that are on the roster that he can do this with, not only with like the Miz, but also with Kit Wilson before that, and then I Show Speed before that. Even though he's not a regular WWE wrestler, he's a personality. And before that was LA Knight, and then some other characters that he's kind of been on and off involved with as well. Logan Paul and Dominic Mysterio as well, since he's arrived on the scene. But yeah, I feel like the stuff with the Miz has definitely been the peak stuff so far, and that vignette was really great, and really fascinated to see what happens next with this whole bit. And just really the comedy there is just endless. He's the, as we like to say, he's the gift that keeps on giving, is Danhausen, and he's got more people to go around and troll and have shenanigans with to continue that level of entertainment for sure. And as long as we do this podcast, we'll continue to follow and track Danhausen's movements. It's almost like a mini segment of our podcast that we do each week, is what in the world is Danhausen doing this week? And this week,
but we all have that friend. We all have that Danhausen friend that, you know, comes over, just wreaks havoc on the place, has a good couple of laughs, and then just checks out. Thanks for the hospitality. We'll see you later.
Yep, steals one of your coveted trophies, plays in your pool, plays your video games. I'm surprised
hit you in the nuts with a golf club.
I'm surprised he didn't go into his refrigerator and make himself a sandwich or something while he was there.
He started eating his chocolate.
That's right. Yeah, the chocolate. All right. Well, next time we come around for next episode of podcast, which would be episode 10, by the way, 10 episodes in of Toad Talk, we'll be tracking what Danhausen has done this week. But that'll wrap up our sports and WWE section. There's only one thing left to do, and that is the Croakitoad area. And we'll kick things off like we usually do with the week of Croakitoad. And as of a week ago, and we'll start from the 19th. Actually, yeah, we'll start from the 19th because that's when we recorded the last podcast. We didn't stream on the 19th, but we did play on April 20th. Wait, that is 420, right? Yeah, 420. On 420, 2026, we played 2 games. I was really excited to play the newest game from Celestia Games, who does all the hidden cats games you usually see me playing. They have moved over from cats over to frogs, and they came out with their brand new game, Find My Frogs. And I did play that, got all the achievements on that. Really fun, cozy game. Totally recommend that. And then also on the same night, we also played the, I can't remember the developers, Limited Run version of Plumbers Don't Wear Ties. Yes, the old game that has so many memes attached to it in the AVGN and everything. Limited Run, I believe it was, re-released this game, gave it modern, basically updated it with everything, and re-released it on all platforms. And I played it for the first time ever. I'd watched the AVGN episodes and I knew about the game. First time playing it though, and got all the achievements in that as well on the Xbox. I can finally say I finally played Plumbers Don't Wear Ties and got all the achievements in it. So that's what we did on 420. On 421, we had I guess we have, you know what? I won't cover that show because we're going to cover the big one. On 421, we did the Go Home show for CPW, which just basically contained a bunch of promos, tadlibs, and matches leading up to our CPW WrestleMania event that we did, which I will be covering here in just a second. We'll just kind of skim over that event. And then on the 23rd, we didn't stream on Wednesday, but we did on last Thursday. We played, man, what did we play? I think we just played a bunch of different games that night. Oh, that's right. Yeah, we did. We played Alaskan Gold Fever, just basically a bunch of games that I got Steam keys for from different developers. We played Alaskan Gold Fever, which was a pretty fun game. We played Buffet Night. That was a fun little one. And I'm trying to remember all these different games that we played here. But yeah, it was just a handful of different games that I had gotten keys for from different developers that they wanted me to try the game out. And we did a lot of giveaways too on that night. I had acquired a bunch of different keys for some of these other games that I had played, and we did a ton of giveaways for some of these games. So special shout out and thank you to some of those developers. We Gotta Go was another one I played that night. But yeah, shout out to all those developers that I played your game. And you also provided some keys for me to do as giveaways for my Twitch chat. Really appreciate that. And all of those games and all this content can be found on my YouTube channel at Croakitoad as well, if you'd like to check those out. They have all been clipped and uploaded to my YouTube channel. Then the day after that, on April 24th, which was Friday, we did Room 713, which is a game made by Gorogar, who was actually in chat to watch me play his game. He's a solo dev, Gonzalo, and I met him through the Steam Next Fest series of games that I did a few months back, and he just randomly came to my Twitch chat because he saw I was doing Steam Next Fest demos, and he just recently put out a game called Room 713, which is an anomaly game, kind of like Exit 8, and it takes place in not the Stanley Hotel, but is kind of the Stanley Hotel. And you have to go ascend 7 floors, go up the stairs. If you see something wrong, you go left. Or I think it's left. And if you don't see anything wrong, it looks normal, you go right. And if you get it right 7 times, you beat the game. There are several different endings to the game. Lots of stuff to find, Easter eggs all over the place in Room 713. I totally recommend it. And the developer's really, really fun, neat guy. And he was in my Twitch chat while I was playing his game. Really fun. So check that out, Room 713. It's available now on Steam. Multiple endings, lots of replayability. There's a speed run mode where you can compare your times against other people on the leaderboards as well. And just the anomalies are a lot of fun as well in it. So definitely check that out. The next, and by the way, I am on the leaderboard as of now at 4 minutes 6 seconds in 3rd place for the game. I'm sure that's dropped down now because the game, I believe, is officially out now. So my time is probably decimated. But at the time, I was in 3rd place around the world for his game. So there you go. Then after that, I played another anomaly game that was gifted to me by Asterial. This one was called Toilet 8. And this one was basically just a meme version of anomalies where you're just in this really colorful stall bathroom rest area, and you got to find the anomalies, something wrong. And there was just some really funny ones, like the guy just continuously peeing and then the pee is just like spilling across the floor, or 2 guys standing side by side in the same stall using the bathroom. That was my favorite one. A guy that's upside down in the stall, trash bags that fly in the air and jump scare you, signs that fall apart, or little poops that are in the sink or the urinal or whatever. There's just fun little ones. But that game was gifted to me by Ash, and we did play that and did get through that for the completion. I will need to go back and do the Iron Man mode, or whatever they call it, where you have to go through like 60 levels to beat that mode. Crazy. Something like that. 60 something attempts you have to beat for that bonus mode. But for the original mode, I did finish the game. Really fun, lots of cheeky little humor in there. And then after that, we played a game called The 10 Bells, which was gifted to me that night by my friend Jen Von Lee, which is yet another anomaly game. It takes place in an English pub. The scares in this one were pretty good. The ghosts were kind of creepy. There's a lot of really creepy elements to this one. And there's actually a story behind it involving the bartender and who's a guy, and then the woman who's working on the other side of the bar as well. And as you progress through the game and find all the anomalies through the 10 bells, and you survive through the different waves, you ultimately figure out what the story is between the 2 characters and your character. And then you just unlock the bonus mode to try to collect all of the anomalies on the board for the achievement. The graphics on this were really fun, and from what Jen Von Lee was telling me, the developers used actually 1-for-1 design of an actual English pub in the UK for the design of this game. And you could definitely tell. It definitely gives off the whole aura of being an actual pub that you would see in England for reals. But yeah, it was had some creepy factors to it. The story was very dark. And thank you to Jen Von Lee for gifting me that game on Steam that night. We did finish it out, and that all of these recordings of these games I'm mentioning are up all on my YouTube channel if you would like to check them out from that night as well. And then to wrap things up that night, I went back to room 713 to try to unlock a few more endings, even though we had already finished the game. So yeah, that was a fun little night, just a kind of a night full of anomaly style games, which are really fun. I like playing those. And then we move over to April 25th, which would have been Saturday. We did some multiplayer, and I believe we kicked things off with NASCAR. Yes, we did. We did a bunch of NASCAR. There's Carson Halsevar right there in front of me on the clip. So this was on Saturday. This was the night before Talladega. And we did, at least if my... Yeah, it was the night before Talladega. So it's funny that we did all of this the night before. There's me crashing into Bubba Wallace at Bristol. How funny is that? But yeah, we basically did multiplayer night on Saturday. We kicked things off with NASCAR, had a bunch of fun there, did our usual Bristol stuff. Then we jumped on Peak. We played some Peak. Trying to remember what the big thing was on that. Okay.
Yeah, and all those items up
Not that. We didn't get old Roxy boy to join us for multiplayer night, unfortunately, so we didn't get any of that.
Oh no, you did. You did, but it was me.
Wow, yeah, it was self inflicted, just not Roxas. But yeah, we ended up peaking. I jumped off the side like I usually do, but everyone is able to escape. Actually, I feel like the peak run was actually pretty low key. It wasn't really that hard, I feel like, going back and thinking about. Everyone kind of got through it pretty good. I died a few times, but it was because of my own dumb mistakes. But I felt like the RNG and the seed on Saturday for peak was not bad at all, really. Not too difficult. But yeah, we did some of that. And then we ended off the night with some Phasmophobia, which was really fun to get to. We played the brand new and revamped Tanglewood for the first time ever. That was a lot of fun. We played with, I think it was Coke and Lady Lavin on a few rounds. And that was the clip, which is up now on all my social medias, of the ghost actually saying Tad, my name, which really freaked me out. I want to say the game is actually not saying Tad, because why would you ever code that in for it to say Tad? It's probably saying something else, but it's definitely sounding like Tad in the moment. I do have that clip up on all my my Instagram and TikTok and stuff, if you like, in YouTube Shorts, if you like to check that out. But pretty creepy moment there, but a lot of fun to jump back into Phasmo for the first time in a while and have some fun there. But that rounded out our multiplayer night on Saturday, which leads us to the last bit of our podcast. We're going to go wrap up over into Tuesday, because we did not stream on Sunday or Monday, I believe. No, I guess we didn't. We didn't stream on Sunday or Monday. But we did come back on Tuesday, and we had the big one. So let's roll into the Croakitoad Pro Wrestling Report and talk a little bit about the big one. The big one was on Tuesday, April 28th. It was 5.5 hours long. We saw every title belt on the line in CPW. Let me actually bring up my CPW page here for the title belts. All right, here we go. And we had a new World Heavyweight Champion, a new International Champion, a new Tag Team Champions, new Young Lions Champion, a new Kappa Champion, and we have a new Money in the Bank briefcase holder. The only belts that did not change hands on the night were the women's title, because it was not put up on the show. Jen Von Lee was able to retain her hardcore title. Buttons was able to retain the TV title. So they walked out still with the belts around their waist. But I'll run down the card here real quick and go over the results with a brief footnote. And if Coke or Hype want to add anything to it after the end of this, we'll kind of discuss a little bit. But to start off the pre-show of the night, we had a 4-way tag team match as a pre-show match, no commentary, just to get us settled in. It was Sneaky Sean and Agent CS, part of the Coke Syndicate, defeating PowerWash Guy and Billy Hargrove from Stranger Things. North Greenfield and Kadaj Valentine, part of the Rock Hard Meatballs, and then Adam Brown and the Disco King. That was a 5-star match. To kick off our official show, we had the match for the Kappa title in a ladder match. We saw Zozakin coming back to defeat Vampy to win back the Kappa title. This was the rubber match. They were both 1-1 against each other. Of course, Zozakin made his big triumphant return back on the Twitch front page show that we had a few weeks back, where he came out of nowhere and defeated Vampy and then defended the belt like 4 times throughout the night, and then also came out at RNG number 30 in a 30-person Rumble match and won that too. It was definitely Zozakin's night, but the week after that, Vampy came back and won the belt back away from him. So that success was very short-lived for that time being. And so we decided the rubber match would be great for the big one, and that's when they had it. Ladder match, and Zozakin picks up the win over Vampy to once again, for the second time, become Kappa champion there. And he'll be having to defend that belt this coming Tuesday, so good luck. After that, we had a double debut match inside a steel cage, and it was dubbed a Tomb Raider steel cage double debut match, where we saw Queen Savi defeating Q Raider in a 3.5-star rating. It was a lot of fun to see 2 brand new ladies join the CPW roster that are fresh and brand new, both debuting. Great back and forth match. Queen Savi certainly brought the taunting to the show tonight, just doing constant taunts and lots of suplexes too onto Q Raider. She definitely came out on her debut to make a showing and a statement, and that she did, picking up the win there. Our next match after that saw Puppy defeating Disco Bunny to win back the Young Lions title. Of course, it was Disco Bunny who beat Puppy several months back to become the champion, and now Puppy gets his title belt back, and he is back in charge of the Young Lions title division with a 4.5-star rating there. The next match saw Necro and Lucinda defeating Honey and Demon in a couple street fight. We saw the original match of this on the Twitch front page several weeks ago. We tried to get a rematch of this because that original match kind of ended abruptly. So we wanted to see a rematch, but it was interrupted by Azarain and Miles Wildmore, who assaulted Necro and Lucinda in the backstage area. And so we didn't get that match, but we finally got it at the big one. 5-star match rating between the two. Necro and Lucinda pick up a win. And so now Necro and Lucinda are now 1-1 against Honey and Demon. So it makes me wonder if there's going to be a rubber match for that little couples rivalry now here in CPW. After that, we saw the 20-person Domino Tribute Memorial Battle Rumble match, and Sumo actually ended up winning the entire thing, 5-star match rating. So that means Sumo will be getting a shot at the television title now at some point for winning that match. We saw some big names in that match and some big returns as well. Names like Volano 11, who we haven't seen in years, was involved in the match. We also saw Kimberly Styles make a big return as well. And of course, we saw Domino himself in his own memorial tribute match. And I couldn't believe it. But who else but Domino to pull a stunt like that? It's a match to memorialize you and be a tribute for you, as like a, for everyone to remember you in tribute. You can't just come out and be in your own tribute match. No, you can't do that. Domino, that's a perfect Domino thing to do, but he did not win. Sumo wins, 5-star match rating. So Buttons will have Sumo to look forward to soon on that title opportunity. After that, we saw Rock Hard Meat coming out to defeat Shadow Chrono for the international title. Another 5-star match. Rock Hard Meat, obviously a former international champion. He hasn't had the belt in a while, but won a #1 contendership match 2 weeks prior to this to meet Shadow Chrono at the big one and took Shadow Chrono down. So the Rock Hearted one is once again international champion for the second time. After that, we saw the Twitch.tv television championship up for grabs. It was a triple threat match, 5-star match rating. It was Buttons defending the TV title over Feats and Hype. Hype is the previous champion. Feats is the champion before that. There was always a bit of commotion about how Hype even lost the title to begin with, considering it was a 2-on-2 match where it was Buttons and Feats versus Chalk and Hype with the title on the line. And Hype wanted his belt back because he thought he won it unfairly. And this was his opportunity to get it. Unfortunately, Feats was caught in the middle because he is the previous champion. So all two former champions and the current champion just had an all-out war against each other. And while Feats and Hype were busy just knocking each other out, Buttons just swoops in like the mischievous goose lady she is and picks up the really fast 1-2-3 to get her belt back. Really funny ending to that match. But yeah, 5-star match rating there. The next match saw Aiden Gallagher defeating Linky in a 3.5-star match rating. There was a lot on the line on this rivalry between these two, which has been coming to a broiling point. If Linky had won, Aiden Gallagher would have had to wear the Ganondorf from Zelda pig mask for a month straight in embarrassing fashion. If Aiden Gallagher won, he would own the services of Connie the Magical Girl for an entire month. And lo and behold, Aiden Gallagher actually picks up the win, defeating Linky. So now Connie is in possession, or Aiden Gallagher is in possession of Connie now for an entire month, and there's nothing Linky can do about it. So that will be interesting to see what Aiden Gallagher does to Connie for the next month, since he owns her now, basically, because it's professional wrestling. You can own people. All right, next match was for the World Tag Team titles. We saw Anubis Khan and Welsh Mosher with the very creepy looking Bacon Laura, who looks like her skin grafts haven't quite melded in yet. Her skin was trying its hardest to stick together for the big one. Taking on Mr. Cantot and Morsel with Lady Lavin in their corner, and another 5-star match rating here. Mr. Cantot and Morsel, the sexually perverted, sexy men, continue to be the unobvious thorn in the side of these two giant monsters as they pick up the win and defeat the Titans to win for the second time the tag team titles. Cantot and Morsel back on top, and I just can't believe that Cantot and Morsel, of all people, just are like the kryptonite to these two giant monsters. It's crazy to see this. If you just look at this on paper, you'd think that the Titans would have crushed them, but every time they go up against each other, I don't know what it is, but Cantot and Morsel, I guess they're just too covered in baby oil. They just slip right out of the grasp of the monsters, the Titans, and just continue to get the upper hand over them. So they are once again tag team champions there. After that, we saw another three-way for the Hardcore Championship, 5-star match rating, and this one got really brutal and violent very quickly. Jen Von Lee, current Hardcore Champion, she won the Hardcore title from OG Brad Vickers in a Hell in the Cell match on the Twitch front page, and Brad Vickers had a lot to say about losing his belt, considering he won it over 7 other people in an 8-person backstage brawl. So he was like, why did I have to beat 7 other people to get the belt, only to lose it to Jen Von Lee one-on-one in a Hell in the Cell after they crunched through the top of the cell, by the way. So he gets his rematch shot for being previous champion. And then Jess Moxley picked up a win over Jen Von Lee one-on-one, non-title. So that guaranteed Jess Moxley got a shot against the champion as well, which turned this into a 3-way. Obviously, actually from the start of the bell ringing, I believe it was OG Brad Vickers just chunked Jess Moxley, or maybe it was Jen Von Lee, chucked Jess Moxley out of the ring, just like trash bag Jess Moxley out of there. And that enabled OG Brad Vickers and Jen Von Lee to just start having another war amongst each other. It was a really fun way to start the match. This match was super brutal. There were thumbtacks everywhere, and everyone's hurting after this. But at the end of it, Jen Von Lee eliminating... I believe she eliminated, Brad Vickers first. This was an elimination match, and then turned away Jess Moxley to retain the Hardcore title. As all the matches last season, Jen Von Lee lost, which was probably almost every single match Jen Von Lee was in last season, last video game. She has basically won every single match since 2K26. This game is her year. She is basically unstoppable. I mean, sure, she's lost here and there, but my God, is she on a monster streak right now as compared to the last year where she just could not buy a win. It is a complete 180 for Jen Von Lee right now, who is current hardcore champion. After that, we saw Spike Ryan defeating Mr. Coke in a 5-star match where Roxas said he was going to call it down the middle because Roxas didn't agree with Mr. Coke's antics of bringing Candy Sucks back to distract Spike Ryan, leading to an ambush a week before this match. And so Roxas, despite him being on the same team with Coke and being eye to eye with him sometimes, he, I guess all of the years of, eye suckery and bullying and shit posting got to Roxas as well. He could feel for Spike Ryan what he's going through. And he said, look, you may have your feud right now, but I'm going to call it down the middle and make sure nothing crazy happens. And that's kind of what Roxas did. He went on to show that he's not the greatest referee in the world. He was calling the pins down the middle, the 1, 2, 3s for the most part. But then he started getting a little excited and bringing weapons into the match, bringing tables, ladders. There was one point where Roxas stood at the very top of the ladder as a referee. I'd never seen this before in my life, watching Coke and Spike Ryan fight each other. And he was just stood at the top of the ladder, just standing there watching until he got knocked off the ladder and almost crunched through a table. This is the referee, by the way. And then he got back up and I believe Spike Ryan got Mr. Coke down, and Roxas really had no other choice but to count the 1, 2, 3. It was a very slow count. You could tell Roxas was really deciding in his head if he really wanted to count or screw Spike Ryan over with his legitimate pinfall on Coke. You could tell he was torn between, being shit posted and being friends with Coke. He was really trying to decide what to do. But at the end of it, he counted the 1, 2, 3 like he said he was going to do. He called it down the middle. And Spike Ryan beats Mr. Coke. And now Coke has got to wear the Baby Rage mask for 1 whole month. And he is going to be there's going to be lots of vinegar in that Coke bottle because he is certainly going to be blaming Roxas for losing and not having his back, even trying to screw Spike Ryan over. So we'll have to see how that develops over the next month. After that, we saw Monica Denizen taking on Danny Adi in a rematch from the Twitch front page. It was another dumpster match. Back when we were on the Twitch front page, they had a dumpster match. Monica stuffed Danny into the dumpster and sat on it essentially in front of all of Twitch.tv website. Danny was not happy with that. He demanded a rematch to throw Monica into the bin. He could not do it. Monica once again wins 2-0 over Danny, and just a bad time to be Danny Adi right now, stuffed into a dumpster twice. Not only on the front page of Twitch, but also at our WrestleMania show. Not good for him right now. After that, we saw a backstage segment that was not scripted or part of the plan at all. We saw Diamond, who had been rumored to be in the building all night, trying to get a shot at Asterial for the women's title on the show. I think she was trying to, I don't want to say make demands, but just kind of negotiate with Thaddeus and Eric Bischoff to let them know, like, look, even though my neck is bad from that match with Lady Lavin, and then I could not even start the match with Celestia when Comatrix gave me a second shot to prove myself, I'm still here tonight. I can wrestle. I can do this. There were negotiations all throughout the night of whether Asterial was actually going to put her belt on the line against Diamond or not. And it culminated to this, where we saw Diamond backstage in the parking lot, and she gets ambushed by Azarain and Miles Wildmore, who has together collectively been just an absolute riot to the entire CPW roster. People getting targeted randomly by these two insane clowns, these two fanatics. And this time they targeted Diamond, ambushing her in the parking lot, putting her head into a car door and slamming the door on her neck even. I don't know, like that goes beyond just attacking somebody. That's like legitimately like trying to put someone in the hospital or retire them permanently. I don't know what the status is of Diamond right now, but we knew the neck was already kind of messed up. But getting a car door slammed onto your neck by these two fanatics, I really hope to know how Diamond is doing here, but I would have to say she's probably in no shape of having any matches anytime soon right now, courtesy of Azarene and Miles Wildmore, who just continue to be just an absolute menace to Croakitoad Pro Wrestling right now at any given random time. After that, we come down to our last 3 matches of the Big One 2026, all 3 super important. Next was the 8-person Money in the Bank ladder match, which was won by Chain last year. We remember he had that briefcase for so long, it almost expired. I guess his manager, Paul Bearer, finally decided to cash it in for the international title. It paid off because he won the belt. But he was once again back in it again, looking to two-peat. He did not. Another important note about the Money in the Bank this year, every single former world heavyweight champion was involved and qualified for the match. So that was really interesting. But then you also had Maggie Moore in there, Deputy Dog as part of the corporation, and Ryan Matthews, who actually ended up winning. 3.5 star rating. Honestly, I felt the match was a little bit kind of I wish it had gone a little longer. Some more monumental moments took place in it. It just ended up just being a bunch of people just brawling around the ring. And then one person just got lucky and set up the ladder without anyone else noticing. And, you know, I can't discredit Ryan Matthews for doing that. I mean, it's a solid tactic. It worked for him to climb the ladder and just grab the case while everyone was too busy battling each other. But for the match itself, it was kind of just bland and wasn't very good, I would say. But, you know, congrats to Ryan Matthews on winning. He now has the briefcase shot. He can cash it in on any title he wants anytime. And knowing what goes through his mind just by looking at him, there's no telling what title he'll go for. I mean, anyone would immediately think, oh, world title. But we saw Chain last year. He went for the international title. It paid off. You can go for any title you want. It's not just the world title. So with someone who looks like Ryan Matthews, he looks like he would be a perfect fit for the hardcore championship, but honestly, he could really fit in anywhere. So we'll have to see where his mindset is there, and if it's in sound mind. And then we come to our semi-main event of the evening, which was a huge match that had months and months and months of backing into it, lots of story building into it. This was Tad Peters with his 2 corrupted ceramic dolls, Celestia and Maggie Moore, that he captured, transformed, and turned them into these mockeries of their former selves, that he called the collection. He was basically starting his own doll collection in CPW, and it all started because of the Lily Selly doll that he made, and basically called the real Celestia. But Nathan Moore had enough. It was his wife that Tad had taken, and he was fighting for honor of his wife and to bring Celestia back to normal. And along the way, we had Nathan Moore bringing out Rogue, who is his partner in FAFO. And then we saw the return of Leo Reigns. And then, of course, John Chaos as well, kind of the OGs, veterans coming back to put an end to this just psychopathic run that Tad Peters was trying to do. And if they had not put an end to him, there's no telling who else that him and his devilish dolls would have kidnapped and tried to twist and contort into being just like them. The virus would have spread. And of course, if Tad had won, he would have actually gotten a world heavyweight title shot as well, which would have meant that next month we would have had Spinny versus Tad for the world heavyweight title. But it did not end that way. In a Bloodline Rules match, we saw everybody out there. It was a complete just barroom brawl, inside the ring, outside the ring, 5-star match. For a long time, Tad was leading in pins and submissions. It was a 30-minute Iron Man match. Tad was in the lead for most of the match. Then Nate came back, put a lot of submissions and finishers on Tad, pinned him a lot, and wins 7-5, which makes the Tad Peters campaign come to an end, come to a close. His evil plans have expired, and now Maggie Moore and Celestia are able to be back to normal again. The curse has worn off, and now Nate can know that him and his boys stopped another purge in CPW, and that feud and storyline has officially come to an end. What's next for Tad Peters, we don't know. I feel like he's probably going back into the Dead Zone shadows to conspire and plan another form of attack at some point in the future. But for right now, he has been defeated at the hands of Nathan Moore. And then we go to our main event and last match of the big one for the World Heavyweight Championship. It was Spinny who won our Croaky Cabaret Royal Rumble match back in February. She won this right by winning that 30-person match. And she actually defeats Psycho T to win the World Heavyweight title. 3.5 match star rating. And honestly, I'm happy for Spinny. She makes history. She's the first woman to ever win the World Heavyweight title. So that's huge. Big, big honor for Spinny there to not only win the Rumble, but then go on to win the main event of the big one as well. So she's 2-0 there. Didn't look too good for her leading up to this. Psycho T was basically demolishing her anytime they got in the ring together. But she comes back here where it counts and beats him for the title. Kind of like I'm just being honest here, kind of like the Money in the Bank match. I feel like this match was very it was kind of lackluster. Like it lacked that sort of pizzazz for being the main event of the entire thing. Maybe it was because we were up to like 5 hours into the show by this point. But I felt like the match just wasn't that great. And it was a 3.5 match star rating. So maybe I'm kind of right on that, but I just remember it just kind of ending abruptly and out of nowhere. And I was just like, oh, okay, that's it then. So I wish the match had a little bit more pizzazz and, moments to it, but it is what it is. Spinny is the world champion. And now moving into the rest of the season, we have to see what happens next. Does Psycho T get a rematch for the belt that he just lost? Do some of these other guys up at the top of the rankings now clamor for a shot? People like Grem, like Wizard Boz, like Raji, former Cassie Ryan, more so than any of the other ones since he was the former champion. Do any of these guys come in and say, look, where's my one-on-one shot now? Or what goes on now that Spinny has the belt around her waist? But that's the report for the big one for CPW. Some other outside news. I know we had Barry Bones coming out to challenge Leo Reigns to a prize fighter match the week prior to this, and there was no mention of that at all. So I'm sure we're going to hear more from him this upcoming Tuesday about how probably Leo Reigns is dodging his challenge. I feel like Leo Reigns is about to get his hands full with him. And of course, Ryan Matthews being Money in the Bank, you never know what's going to happen there. We've got Zozakin as a Kappa champion again. He'll be defending his belt because, again, every 7 days. And we just have a lot of fallout from a lot of these different matches. Just real quickly, I know I've been talking for what seems like an hour, but real quickly, just going into like an asterisk of some of these matches, what you can expect as a fallout from some of these. I would definitely say that probably Necro and Lucinda and Honey and Demon have another match in them because they need to settle this. They both have each a win and a loss over each other. Sumo has a guaranteed shot at the TV title now. It doesn't have to be right now, but he does have one. Rock Hard Meat being the new international title kind of sets open the field. I don't feel like Shadow Chrono probably is going to maybe go for a rematch against him immediately. So the international title is kind of wide open right now, but who really wants to step into the ring with Rock Hard Meat and try to take that title away from him, honestly? With Feats and Hype too busy like pounding away at each other to really focus on buttons in that match, I'm really looking at Feats and Hype to start a program against each other, and I'm really looking forward to seeing that go down. With Aiden Gallagher winning, he now basically owns Connie. So where does that leave Linky? Linky's going to be like missing his piece, but Aiden Gallagher is going to be rubbing it in every week, and there's nothing he can do about it. He's got her for a month. So where does that go? You got Cantot and Morzel as the new World Tag Team Champions. Do you feel like maybe the Titans, Anubis Khan and Welsh Mosher are like, let's take a break from this for a minute. Let's regroup, regather ourselves and refocus. And then that opens it up for another team to come in and challenge Cantot and Morzel for the tag belts to freshen that up a bit. I think so. Jen Von Lee once again beating everybody for the hardcore title is just, she probably has the best streak going on right now in CPW, I feel like. But I feel like her feud with Evan is just the feud that will never end. So there's probably going to be more of that. And plus, it's the hardcore title. So there's always going to be a big group of people coming to bleed and just go for that belt. So Jen Von Lee certainly has her work cut out for her. Spike Ryan beating Mr. Coke. That frees him up to go focus on other stuff now without the in-house shit posting from Coke. Now Coke can now turn his attention to Roxas for not truly having his back and helping him screw Spike Ryan over. Roxas did the fair and square thing to the best of his abilities, and Coke still lost, but that's not going to stop Coke from blaming him. And now Coke has to wear the baby mask for a month, so he's going to be blaming Roxas every step of the way on that one. Monica beating Danny Adi, honestly, like, I don't even know what to say about this. Danny, man, how many times can you challenge Monica and you just get thrown in the dumpster? I mean, it's not a good look, but man, I don't know. Maybe him and Evan can regroup and try to figure out a way to put down Jen and Monica. I have no idea how that's going to go. It just doesn't look good for Danny right now. The status of Diamond, definitely up in the air. I mean, she got her neck absolutely crushed. And man, I don't see her probably having a match, much less going for Asterial, until we get an answer about what her neck is going through. And of course, Miles and Azarane are just going to continue to be, injuring and putting people on the injury reserve list every single week until something is done about them. And they're just running amok and just killing everybody backstage like they've been doing for week after week. Ryan Matthews winning Money in the Bank. I mean, who knows? He can cash it in on any belt. It's definitely the curveball for anything moving forwards. That's the golden ticket, and that's the advantage you get being Money in the Bank briefcase. You can hang on to it till people forget about it and makes it more of a shocker, or you can cash it in right away on any belt you want. Who knows with Ryan Matthews? Of course, Nathan Moore beating Tad Peters puts that to an end. We'll get the regular Celestia and the regular Maggie Moore back again. Tad Peters fades away like a ghost into the shadows with the rest of the Dead Zone for the time being. The heroes prevailed, so Nate can have his wife back. Leo Reigns can focus on Barry Bones, probably. Rogue, not really sure what happens to Rogue there. Maybe they collectively go for the tag belts again. They're former tag champions, so maybe they can focus on that now with Maggie at their side. So who knows? Maybe Celestia goes for the women's title again. She is the first ever women's champion after all. It's been a while since we've seen Celestia go off on her own. And then, of course, the main event, we talked about that. Spinny's the new champ. Psycho T, I could see calling for a rematch to get his belt back. But you have all the other main event guys in there, clustered in there as well. Grem, Wizard Boz, Raji, and Cassie Ryan. And of course, Domino as well. You always have the corporate entity trying to insert themselves into situations. So that's going to be another one that's super busy and super tight. But that's basically your big rundown and recap from CPW. I know most of you listening like to listen to this section to hear your characters and what's expected and coming next out of you from the Tuesday night show. So that's your piece for this episode of the podcast. I'll pass it over to Coke first and then Hype. After all my talking, do you have anything to add about maybe what you saw from the big one, the stories, the feuds, the culmination, the lead up, anything you have to say, whether it be your own character situation or anything else?
Well, I'll start with Spiky Boy versus Mr. Coke. Yeah, I'd say I took that with a plum. I mean, I thought it was great. Love setting the table on fire and then putting Spike's face in it. I thought the entire Roxas refereeing experience was enjoyable, and yeah, I can't wait to have a nice dialogue with the Roxmeister, and potentially start beefing with him. And well, like the rest of the show was amazing. Just banger after banger match. The Diamond incident was a highlight. It's like you're kicking him in when he's down by doing that, but I thought it was enjoyable. And let's see. The like the Jen versus OG Brad Vickers, that was a good one. And I guess like the entire thing in general was just good. From beginning to end. Like no, it didn't, drop at all. Quality, everything was great throughout.
I have to ask you about your specific match. Of course, I talked about Roxas going to the top of the ladder and stood at the very top of it to watch Coke and Spike Ryan fight each other. Was it on purpose to bump into the ladder and knock him off, or was the intention to make him crunch through a table, or was it just purely an accident?
I could lie and I could say that I wanted him to just crunch through the table, but it was an accident.
Okay. I mean, that checks out, because what good is a referee that's crunched through a table off a ladder if he can't help you win?
Exactly.
Comedic value mainly.
I was just curious about that, because he did fall off the ladder and he almost fell through the table. So I was just wondering if that was on purpose or not. All right. And we'll move it over to hype now. Do you have any thoughts about the big one?
No, just like your regular main events, huge storylines, great matches. We had some great pairings and a lot of instant classic matches. I mean, just looking at your star rating, for the most part, 75% of your matches were 5-star rates, so they had great action to them. They had great timing. Just it was a good show. Plenty of great matches. Seeing Roxas fall was kind of a funny moment that had a good laugh through everybody. Everybody had a good chuckle at that one.
Hype, why?
All right, hold on. Let's see if we can do that.
Okay. Yeah, and all those items up here.
That's the sound he made when he fell off the ladder.
No, because then we got to remix it for a Coke. Why?
If I can get him to do that. I can shake him up.
Just few Jack Winters pictures. maybe Jack Winters will make a play into Roxas's next match as a special guest referee. Just saying.
It could possibly happen. Real quick, I just wanted to point out before we wrap this all up, one last thing. Right now, the longest reigning champion in all of CPW right now, and I believe she was even before the big one, but Asterial is currently the longest holded champion and has already busted the previous record of Spinny at 175 days as women's champion. Asterial, on her second reign, won the belt back in August 26, 2025, and still has it today. And she might just be the longest. I'd have to check the Zombies Kappa title reign and Grem's world title reign, but oh no, the Zombie only had it for 85. We're just doing some quick fact checking right here. Let's check Grimm's world title. Grimm had his world title for 238 days. I'd have to see if she might be getting actually pretty close to that. If not, is 8/26/25 to today, would that beat that record at the recording of this podcast? 8/26/25 to today, would that beat 238 days? I'm putting.
Yeah, that was 247 days.
Oh snap!
Oh,
August
new
26,
record holder.
2025
Let me check.
to April 30th.
Yeah, because the tag belts are 184. Yeah, she might have just made CPW history as the person who's held their belt the longest. 161. Yeah, I think Asterial has made history by holding onto her title belt the longest out of anyone, no matter what title it is, at 200 and whatever you just said. Awesome. So I just want to throw that out there. Of course, she did not defend the belt at the big one. It could have happened, but Miles and Azarine happened, so they cut that off. But yeah, just a little shout out there to Asterial. You can find all this out on the Croakitoad Pro Wrestling page on croakitoad.com, by the way, if you're ever interested in checking that out. But yeah, I think that's going to wrap us up I know we usually do a streamer of the... Oh, no. We weren't going to do a streamer of the week, but we were going to shout out everybody who's been streaming. That's right. Because this... Okay, so let me just explain real quick to podcast listeners. We're not doing a streamer of the week this week because this podcast is coming out so late. It's literally Thursday going on the Friday. But when we come back for episode 10, we will resume streamer of the week. So if that makes any sense. But in place of that, I will give a shout out to everybody who's been streaming the past 7 to 10 days. And kind of do a shout out to everybody that's a part of the Croakitoad stream team. So this is your flowers streamers out there, part of the Croakitoad team. And we'll start from the very top of the list. We have Q the Stupidity, who's been playing Tomb Raider 1 Remake, Tamagotchi Life, and Tomb Raider 4. We've got the Chain TV, who's been plugging away at Resident Evil 2 Remake and Tamagotchi Life, talking a lot about William Birkin and the G-Virus is Chain. Raji was playing, is that Final Fantasy 2? FF2? Because Raji was playing Final Fantasy 2. Interesting. Okay. We got Roxas, who has been playing Xenosaga Episode 2. We got Lucinda, who's still in the middle of her first time playthrough of Watch Dogs over on her channel. I believe her community voted for Watch Dogs, and now she's playing it for the first time. RE Kitten 137 has been super addicted to Schedule 1 lately. In fact, I rated her last night, and she was playing it then as well. Super addicting game for her. She gets to do all the dabs she wants playing that one. Feats Beast Games was playing I Am Jesus Christ and Pragmata, and who had a lot of great things to say about Pragmata and was talking to me about the achievements. He said the final boss was kind of annoying on normal difficulty and did not look forward to going through on hard for the achievement to do it again on the final boss. So... yay. But overall, the game is a lot of fun. Glad to hear that. Puerto Rican Chipmunk, Maggie, has also been playing Resident Evil 2 Remake, trying to escape Mr. X. Good luck to you. Jin Von Lee was playing some Helldivers 2 and Peak, kind of two of her go-to games there for multiplayer. We've got Nick Romananon, who has been playing Cult of the Lamb as well. Monica Denizen has been playing Hidden Cats in Istanbul. And I think she actually won that as a giveaway in my channel when I was streaming that. So hopefully she enjoys that. Those games are a lot of fun. Monica was also playing Shift at Midnight and Ground Zero, the OG Brad Vickers voice acted in character game. Spooky Auntie was playing some Arc Raiders again, a game I really need to try out. I've been seeing a lot about it. It looks fun, actually. Urkamus was playing, as usual, playing a mixed bag here. Split Fiction, Peak, Minesweeper Online, Resident Evil Requiem, and Dark Souls. So Urkamus, former streamer of the week, playing just about a little bit of everything there. Patrick's Raider was playing some Resident Evil 6, Mouse, PI for Hire as well, a game we covered at the start of this podcast. Then we had Agatha, who's been playing Castlevania Symphony of the Night, Resident Evil 1, and Resident Evil Requiem with lots of Leon memes. We've got Burnsy, who was playing, once again, Crime Boss Rocky City. He's been playing that a lot. We got Tommy Spud, who's been playing Fire Pro Wrestling World, doing some simulations and some shows there. We got It's Pocket, who was playing A Plague Tale Innocence and God of War and Windrose. We also have I Am Daniel McGee, who is playing some PowerWash Simulator 2. Nice. Disco Bunny, playing some Zero Escape, Zero Time Dilemma. Liz the Lefty was also playing Ground Zero. Lone Star was playing some Minecraft and some Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I just saw Jack Winters / Modern Slave was not streaming anything. And then Jojo Spud 247 was playing The Last of Us Remastered and is in the middle of that playthrough. And to end it all off, we also had Lilu Horrors, who was playing some Resident Evil 4 Remake. So that is your shout outs to everybody on the Croakitoad stream team. Continue to plug away and do your thing. It's always awesome to check the stream team and see a lot of people streaming and doing their thing, what they're working on and everything. Again, we're not doing a streamer of the week this week because this podcast is coming out so late, but we will be doing it for episode 10. So keep on plugging away and keep on streaming. And remember, if I didn't mention your name and you did stream, it's probably because you have your VODs turned off or disabled. So make sure to turn those on so we can keep track of you and know what you've been streaming, because otherwise we can't see what you've been streaming. But yeah, that'll do it for episode 9 of Toad Talk Podcast. This is kind of a longer one again. We just hit the 3-hour mark, but we had a lot to talk about. Really appreciate Hype stepping in for the first time. We started off with Raji and then lost him along the way. So the only OG left here is me. Felt kind of weird, but we managed to get through it. But yeah, thanks Hype for filling in and stepping in for the first time.
Yeah, it's no problem. Just glad to be able to have the time to be able to sit down, talk with you guys, and just really go over some of the information that's gone on in the last week and a half.
Absolutely. And also Coke, thanks for filling in, being the original filler for Grem.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I do.
Yep.
And supposedly I sound like him, so, there's that.
I mean, they do say your voice clones, so.
Yep.
All right. Well, that'll end us for this week for episode 9. Thank you all for listening. And as usual, if you liked what you hear and you would like to continue listening or go back to previous episodes, be sure to drop a like, follow, or subscribe. And remember to drop those comments wherever you're listening to enter the Bubsy 4D giveaway. And also, if you'd like to join in with the Croakitoad NASCAR Cup Series simulation, we'll be starting next Tuesday. Drop those comments wherever you're listening now and join the fray. And as usual, you can always catch me live on Twitch, twitch.tv Croakitoad for all my content, or any of the videos that we talked about. You can check them out on my YouTube channel. Thank you again, everyone, so much for listening and offering your suggestions, advice, and comments. We really appreciate it. And we'll be back next Sunday with episode 10. We're now 10 episodes into Toad Talk. Awesome time. Thank you, everybody, and see you next weekend.